Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hey, you could just call me May. I don't know what else you could call me. So I wanted to do a date everything tier list, especially because I have seen these posts all over Reddit, and why not give myself the opportunity to talk about this game and these lovely characters. But before we get into this, I want to give a quick disclaimer and say that if you do not want spoilers or have yet to complete the game, click off now and join us back later. Okay, I'll miss you, but we'll be lucky to have you then. With that being said, let's take a quick moment to look at our lovely Dateables. This is not in alphabetical order, so I will not be either. I'm going to be ranking their routes as well as placing them on a specific tier list that determines what type of relationship I would have with each dateable in real life. This is outside of my sexuality or anything like that. This is just free game, okay? Just remember, I'm not here to attack your favorites. I'm here to judge them. So our tiers are going to be marriage material, lovers, crush, besties, friends with benefits, situationship, acquaintances, and no, I think they're also self-explanatory. So now enjoy my ramblings as we get started with our first dateable. Abel, your table. So Abel, when I was doing his route, I found that he was more like a gentle giant. He is kind of handsome, I'm not gonna lie. And he's very caring. I'm just gonna say this, there's only a little bit of a downside because I kind of got to know him through other dateables. I didn't really know him like, one-on-one, which is not so bad, but I don't know, this also led me to Dasha, and I mean, you can put these two together, but I ended up liking Dasha a little bit more. But if I were to rate his route, I'm gonna give it a 4.5, only because I don't know, it's a unique route, but I'm just like, it's a man, like, I don't know. I am currently trying to play Date Everything yet again. Trying to get the Made Everything ending or achievement to be more specific, so maybe things will change. I don't know. My opinions can change. I'm only recording this now, so everything can change. So who knows? But because of that, I'm going to have to put Abel in the friends category because, yeah, there's just not much, but I think we'd be really good friends. He's someone that I could genuinely rely on. But that's pretty much it. So on to our next dateable. Erin, your heir. When it comes to Erin, I really like her design. I think she's really pretty. She's also very curious when you get her ending or you realize her at the end. And I mean, she's kind of all over the place. She's a lot more talkative, which is very good. There's nothing wrong with someone who's talkative. Absolutely nothing wrong. But she's also very mindful if you think about it, because most of her route, it's just you breathing. And I think some of us need to stop and do that sometimes, especially me. Personally, I don't think that much of Erin. She's kind of like an afterthought, especially because she kind of comes in spontaneously when you're trying to play the game. Especially when I did my first run with the game, it kind of was a little irritating because I was just like, where's Erin? And then she would just pop up at some point, and not when I needed her to, which is fine. It's okay. The game's not all about convenience. Sometimes it's fine. It's whatever. But I would rate her out a 2 out of 10 because it would have been a little bit more if she was more accessible. And I'm so sorry for the Erin fans because I know she's underrated and I'm not helping out with this cause. I apologize. But for that, dating wise, she's gonna have to go to a no. She's still pretty though, okay? I'm sorry. Anyways, let's go to our next dateable, Amir, your mirror. Amir is great, okay? Amazing design. I would even say he has one of my favorite designs, especially his realized outfit. I'm like, okay, where have you been hiding? Also, I know he's like a sass character, but he is kind of sassy. He's kind of real. He made me laugh a few times, and he does have an eye for beauty. His route kind of centers on self-esteem. And personally, while I was playing this game, being on my self-esteem journey, as I was not perfect when this game came out, I was still a little shaky, and there were a lot of things that were happening around that time. So, my self-confidence and my self-esteem was kind of fluctuating and everything. So playing Amir's route at that time, it was a little meaningful to me because it kind of reminded me, well, just this sounds so conceited, but it's like, I'm not that bad looking, I guess. I don't know. But it really just reminded me that, or it kind of just gave me personal reminders that I had to give myself, or something I have lost sight of at those quiet little moments. So I really do like his route and how he was just kind of there, if that makes more sense. But I will say, I wish there were more quiet moments to get more personal with Amir. But overall, his route is a 7 out of 10 for me. But in terms of a romantic partner, I'm gonna go with friends. I don't really see Amir as a potential romantic partner. Of course, in the game, I'm going for everybody. So you know what? Everyone's getting cracked. But I feel like me and Amir would just be really good friends, personally. And that's about it. Next, we have Arma, your smoke detector. Now, Arma, she is very driven. I loved her route. It was so much fun. Unfortunately, I did get into that weird loop thingy and I could not break her out of it. And then all of a sudden, you know, even after we kissed and everything like that, you know what I got? I got the friendship ending, and that really pissed me off. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because I was kind of hungry for Arma. I'm gonna be so for real. And I want to say that I really did vibe with her character a lot. I mean, in some aspects, me and Arma could kind of relate. For her, she's a lot more diligent and she's very protective about everybody in the house. Of course, you know, this is stemming from a lot of trauma for her. And so she's a little bit more on her toes with these type of things. She's more proactive. I don't even think that's a word, but we're using it today. And I would say I do relate to her in that aspect of being hypervigilant. In a sense, when my anxiety peaks up, I'm trying my best to kind of make sure everything's in place, everyone's safe or anything like that. And in the sense of danger, I might look cool on the outside, but on the inside, I'm trying to formulate an attack strategy on how I'm going to get up myself and everybody I love out of that situation. But I would say her route, 8 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10 if I got that love ending. I'm just being a little petty, and I'm going to be petty for some of these dateables. You're going to have to deal with that. But I would say in a dating aspect, I'm also going to go with friends with Arma. I can kind of see us getting into somewhat of a relationship, but I just think that we would have a lot more platonic support than romantic support, if that makes sense. All right, we're moving on to art. Your art. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so Art is like a art history nerd. He's very thoughtful and he's very, very appreciative. I do like his voice and his poses. They're so great. I put my favorite ones on the screen so you guys can just see what poses I like. Maybe I should have mentioned that, but that's okay. We can do it now because it's art. So I do like art personally. I even took an art history course back in my community college days, but I'm just gonna say this. Going into Baroque, Renaissance, or, you know, all those things, I was not all for those art eras or art movements. I would more prefer movements like, what are they called? I can't remember it on the top of my head, but I would prefer modern movements. I think that would have been like realism, modernism. There's one where it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but like there's all like the little dots, you know, they use dots to kind of paint everything. Those ones I would study nonstop and I like that. But I think it was really fun while playing Art's route. We're just kind of talking about art. We're just like, you know what? This is really nice. What does this remind you of? And it's really nice. And I can also kind of remember some of the styles or the movements that those paintings stem from. But I'm going to rank his route a 5 out of 10. Cause, you know, it's not bad. You know, I don't wish there was nothing more, nothing less. I kind of like it the way it is, but it's just a 5 out of 10. When it comes to actually ranking this character and how I personally believe that they would be in my life, Art is going to be an acquaintance. I don't think me and Art wouldn't get along well, but I don't think we would be friends. I think we'd be like the occasional people where we call each other up and we're like, hey, let's go check out that art museum, and then he would join me. You know, it would be kind of that thing. I don't really think much of it. Anyways, next one. Barry, your beauty supplies. Okay, I can say a lot about Barry, and you're going to see a reoccurring pattern of me hyping up a lot of empathy or sass characters, and that's because those ones are my favorite, and they're the ones that I was drawn to majority of the time with any of my playthroughs. It's really ridiculous. Anyways, moving back onto Barry. But Barry was very relatable to me personally as someone who also has ADHD. Seeing Barry just it just made me so happy. I remember like first looking at Barry. First of all, they were already fabulous. And I was like, you know what? I'm already gonna love you. You're into makeup. I like getting into makeup somewhat. We're gonna have fun. But then just knowing how they were just kind of like going off sometime, and I'm like, Barry, come back. It was just so fun. I would also say like it was also very relatable because like at some point Barry was just like, oh, okay, good idea. Let me write down everything I'm thinking. But what if I forget to write down what I need to write down? And even at that point, I was stuck because I am very keen on just wanting to write something down and then I don't write it down and I forget it and it's really bad. But you know, most of the time I write everything down because that causes discipline. But other than that, Barry is really funny and he's such a sweetheart. And I'm gonna rate his route a 9 out of 10. Come on, that's our boy. That's our boy. That's everyone's boys. But I will say this. In terms of a relationship, I think me and Barry would be besties in real life. I would be Barry's best friend. I don't care if he doesn't want to be mine. I'm going to be his. Like, I really think that we would vibe really well together and that we would be able to talk about our special interests together. I mean, the weird thing is he is my special interest. I mean, everyone else is, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. He'll get used to it. It's okay. Anyways, next one. Bathsheba, your bathtub. So Bathsheba, what is there not to like about her? She's like the little queen bee who just knows what she's worth, okay? I can't fault her for that because she's definitely a Taurus. And so am I, so I'm claiming her immediately. And you know what? She is such a funny character. She was kind of real because like, especially like, she irritated me at first. I didn't like her at first, but once, I don't know, Bathsheba week came and I was like, you know what? I changed my mind. I want that queen. I want her bad. And I still want her bad. But I just want to say there was like this part in her route where she's like, so I did everything you told me to and it just didn't work. I just can't see why this didn't work. And I mean, you know what? She's kind of me too. But I will rate her route a 6 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm rating it a 6 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 is because it took me so long to get her love ending. I was trying to do my Made Everything run. I'm still doing it. I've been doing this for like, 2 months now. But I kid you not. I tried going after Bathsheba's love ending 5 times. I had to take a break before I finally got it. It irritated the crap out of me. I just couldn't do it anymore. But you know what? It's a 6 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10 if I wasn't petty about it. But relationship wise, I think me and Bathsheba would be really good friends, but it would take a lot of work because I know her personality. She's a little bit more on the demanding side where I can be a little bit more relaxed, but at the same time, I know what I'm worth too. I could be a little demanding. I could be a little bit of a drama queen. So we'd be drama queens together, but at the same time, I'm a little aware. So I don't know. I think it would just take a lot of work, but I love her either way. Okay, next we have Bo, your boxes. So with Bo, she's very fun, she's adventurous, she's cute. Like, oh my gosh. Like, can I talk about her red tank top when she gets realized? God help me. I remember when I realized her and I said, no, she's a baddie, she's hot. No, I can't do this anymore. But I would say this, when I did Bo's route the first time, it's been months since I've played her route because you know, playing the Made Everything run is a little different than when you just go willy-nilly with the game. You know, I liked her. She kind of reminds me of like that one girl from like the Alvin and the Chipmunks movie when they get shipwrecked. She reminds me exactly of that woman. Like every time I look at Bo, I see that woman. I know that woman was evil, adjacent. I don't know what was going on, but like that's what she reminds me of and I can't shake that feeling off. But I did enjoy her quest for Rongo Mai Fenwa. I think I'm saying it right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But for the quest, and then I think she had like an evil twin or something. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Isodel? I don't know. Adele Dazim. I don't know. I don't remember what it was called. But I also enjoyed her little banter with Jacques because they were just kind of beefing for a little bit. And guys, you guys gotta stop. And I'm like, wait, keep them going, let them beef. It was really funny. But I'm gonna rate her route a 6 out of 10. Only because I don't remember it that much. But from what I remember, I did enjoy it. But it wasn't like my favorite thing. I will say, I think me and Bo would be really good friends. I feel like if she wanted a partner, she would want someone who's a lot more adventurous, and I'm a little bit more laid back. The most adventure I would go to is the mall, and that's about it. Next, we have Benoit, your rose toy. dirty little animal. Okay, so with Benoit, I found them a little relatable. And before you come after me in the comments, let me explain. Relatable as in trying to prove your self-worth. Because that's the vibe I got when I was doing their route, was that they were kind of trying to prove themselves because they were gifted to us as like a little gag gift. So of course they're trying to like perform more, trying to do more so they can prove otherwise. But I also found Benoit to be a little bit more open and funny, because that whole taco thing was so ridiculous. I was just like, I cannot believe I'm playing this in my game. Like, this is so random. But I'm just gonna say this, as much as like I like it when the characters are flirting with me a little too hard, it was a little too spicy for me. But I wasn't completely uncomfortable doing their route, so yeah. But they're gonna get a 4 out of 10. Character wise, 10 out of 10. I still like them, but I'm gonna put them in the friends tier. I think me and Benoit would actually be really good friends, despite them being a little freaked out. But you know what? Who isn't freaked out? I'm just saying. And this is pretty much an addition for their character, but they were kind of interested in human sexuality. And if I'm open and honest, I am interested in human sexuality, specifically teaching it. Maybe after I get my bachelor's, I don't know what's happening in life, but you know what? I'm still interested. And I mean, the way they do it is basically be safe while having unsafe sex. But it's not the unsafe sex that we all should worry about, but you know, they were kind of funny for them. So I think we would vibe and talk about like human sexuality, and I think it'd be a really interesting topic. Up next, we have Betty, who's your bed. What is there not to talk about Betty? She's soft, more specifically, the way she talks is soft, and I'm like, okay, girl, like, you got it going on. She's like, yearner? Come on, and she's so sweet. She is very sensual, though. And I feel like I can relate to her when it comes to yearning, because first of all, she is just longing for a partner. I would even argue and say she's a little bit on the hopeless romantic side, and you know what? Me too, girl, you know, her. But I do want to say this, and I want to give a quick shout out, and I'm going to do a little bit of this, you know, some here and there. But her portrayal in the fanfic Burning Ashes by Burger Cat, dude, I love that fanfic, and I love how Betty's like your best friend. She's like right there, I'm like, yes, please. And I feel like she would give me a lot of good cuddles. Like, come on. And I just want to give her love because she deserves it. She just wants to give her love to someone who deserves it. And it's like, yo, me too. And I rate her route an 8 out of 10. Hands down, it's a really good one. I like it. And you know what? It was kind of sweet when we got to take her on a little date around the house. It was really cute. But I'm going to say this overall. I think me and Betty would be besties. I actually think we'd be really good best friends. I don't see her romantically, or I don't even know how that would work romantically. You know what? It might be good actually. But I really do see us as besties because I think we would be really supportive towards each other. We'd be there for each other, like physically, emotionally, mentally. We'd be right there. You know, she's my girl. I like her. All right, we're going to turn up to Beverly, your beverages. Okay, so Beverly, she's funny, she's caring, she's creative. Personally, I can't drink, but you know what? I know she would make me some really good drink if I asked her. So if she could make me a virgin pina colada, we are set for life. I did find her route really enjoyable and fun. And I found her ending very heartwarming, you know, just in all the dateables coming around. They're like, yeah, we're here for you. I love her. She's also very supportive because like when I think about her in like Freddie Yeti's route or in Rainy's route, she's just always there for everybody. And I'm like, why can't you people be there for her? Y'all are messed up. The only thing I would say about her entire route is that I didn't appreciate the drink that almost got us alcoholic poisoning. I was like, that's a little serious and you're over here trying to kill me. I don't appreciate that, girl. But you know what? It is what it is. But I'm going to rate her around an 8 out of 10. And relationship wise, I think in real life, me and Beverly would be friends. All right, next we got Bodhi, who's your 80s time capsule. All right, so you know what? Bodhi's a little bit of a musician. He's sweet. He's a legitimate qua supporter. You know, who doesn't like that? Who doesn't like a man who supports the gays? He really is a funny and cool dude. Like, you know, he was just taking in everything. He was taking in the culture and he got lost in the time. I felt really bad. He sings, and I mean, hey, if y'all never listen to You Know What the Date Is, you need to start doing it now because I played that on repeat. It's a really good song. But I'm just going to say this. For some reason, he kind of reminds me of Dan Abaddon, and I don't know if I should elaborate on that, but I'm going to. But like, not physical, I mean a little bit physical wise, but not too much physical. They just both sing. They're kind of based on a certain decade. Like, come on, like there had to have been something going on here. Like, you can't tell me. And I mean, here's my thing. If you took a step back and you put like Dan Avidan's voice over like Bodhi, I probably wouldn't have, it's right there. I'm just saying, it's right there. Yeah. But I feel like me and Bodhi, we could exchange some music and he could show me shows from the 80s. Because I'm really interested in like 80s and 70s music. And I'm going to rate his route an 8 out of 10. Nothing more, nothing less. I like it the way it is. But I would say that me and Bodhi, we would be really good friends. We would be able to talk about these little small things. And I feel like showing him the present time would be really fun, but also I would like to know more about the past and get into more of the history of that. And you know what? He'd be right there. Okay, so what can we say about Capriccio, your cabinet? So Capriccio, I think I'm saying it right. He's charming, he's romantic, he's sweet, but I'm gonna give his route a 4.5 out of 10. Okay, I'm so sorry for the Capriccio fans. Like, don't get me wrong, he's kind of a funny guy and he's very romantic. I like the things he was saying, but his charms was not for me. I wasn't really feeling it, and because of that, I think he's gonna have to fall into an acquaintance. He could tell me a lot about Italy though. Like, I don't mind. We could talk about that, but like, if he was just, trying to tell me he loved me or trying to get with me, I would be like, you're a very good friend. That's about it for me. Okay, next we have Celia, your ceiling. So what can we say about Celia? Because I'm just also gonna say this here. Some of these characters do not need to be in specific specs category. Because what do you mean Celia is smart and not poised? Can we talk about this? There's going to be like a lot of mini rants happening here. And I just want everybody to know that Celia should have been a poised character. Some of them need to be swapped up real fast. Anyways, what can we say about Celia? First of all, she's very elegant. She's poised. She's structured. And she gets things done. She's really on it. I really like that about her. And she kind of reminds me of Moon from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Like, there's some similarities there in a sense. Like, I don't know. I can see it. But I do want to say, alongside with Florence, because their routes are interconnected, I give both of them a route rating of 9 out of 10. I really liked their route. It was really fun. They made me fumble Stella the first time, but I just redid their route, and I mean, I got everybody. So that's all I gotta say. But I will only say the downside is Florence is her true lover. Same thing with Florence. Florence likes Celia. Celia likes Florence. They want nothing to do with us. I mean, it's okay. Like, I literally was like, hey, let me kind of make this a 3-party system. They're like, well, I don't mind. I don't want you to not mind. I want you to want me. Like, come on. But I will say this. I feel like me and Celia would be really good acquaintances. I just feel like I'm too stupid and goofy for her. I don't know. I think she'd be really nice and caring towards me. But I think she would just not look down on me. She would just kind of look at me and be like, yep, you're going to be one of those people I have to watch over. So that's about it. Okay, next on the list, we have Jeremy. So Jeremy is our little theater nerd. She's very funny and she's all about respect in her routes. I really did like that because I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like sometimes when you're playing Date Everything, you're talking to some of the characters, it can feel a little pushy or a little creepy when you're kind of pushing on a certain boundary. So I like that Jeremy was more of like, hey, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're going to have a safe word. You're not going to do this. She was not playing around. I like that about her. I would say this. I'm going to give her about a 5 out of 10. Only because it's just like, there's not really much to it but plays. I know there was like a reference to Heathers. I think there was a reference to another musical that I watched. I don't really remember, but yeah, the Heathers one is the only one that comes into my head right now, which is not bad. I thought it was pretty creative. I did like that we were doing like different plays, every single day. There was like something different. I liked it. Or every single weekend. I don't really remember the days, but I do like how that was really nice. And she kind of had us coming along and doing it with her. But I would say she is an acquaintance. Only because I feel like I would be her major fan if like I saw her in a movie or something like that. I would think I'd be all over Jeremy, but like, yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I'm not that much of a theater nerd, and I don't know what constitutes a theater nerd. Is it someone who likes musicals or likes plays? Or is it someone who likes plays and musicals and also would be in one? Because I am more of the former than the latter. I was the latter at some point, but those dreams got crushed a little bit. So yeah, anyways. Chance, your D20. Chance is on the nerdy side. He is adventurous. He's very caring. Sorry. But I would say I had a really fun time doing his route. I think it was called like something in Gargoyles. I don't remember what it was called, but I think it was supposed to be like a play on to like Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm just gonna say G&G because I think that's what it was called in the game. I haven't redone his route, so sorry guys. And I'm gonna give his route an 8 out of 10. You know, no complaints there. It was pretty fun. The voices were really fun. The characters were fun. I had a really good time. Lux was pissing me off throughout that entire route, but it's fine. You know, he was trying his best. But the only downside to Chance is that he kind of reminds me of someone, so that kind of bumps it down a little bit. Sorry, Chance. But personally, I think me and Chance would be lovers. I think we'd be dating for a little bit. And then also because in his realized ending, he's like a therapist. And I want to be a therapist after I get my master's. So, like, we'd be like a little bit of a power couple or whatever. So, anyways, so yeah, Chance is going to be my lover. Next one. All right, Kurt, your curtains. I'm going to have to talk about Kurt and Rod separately, even though their routes are intertwined. But I will say, out of the two, Kurt is more of like the little sweetheart. He's funny. Of course, he's cute. Like, oh my gosh. But I would say, out of the two, I think Kurt is more ideal for me, or like I'm more drawn to his looks. And I don't know if it's just a color theory that's going on here or just, you know, he's just really nice. I like him. He's cute. But for both Kurt and Rod, I'm going to rate their route a 9 out of 10 because I had a really good time just trying to dog on people. The thing is, I don't like the fact that I was punished the first time. Well, I wasn't punished, but like sometimes there were just moments where like, you know, I didn't want to throw shade. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of sweet. And that wasn't enough for them. I had to throw shade every single time. I'm like, okay, guys, dang, like, okay. But I would say in real life, I think me and Kurt would be friends, but I would have a massive crush on him. Because I think our flirting would be like top notch. I think we could vibe. Like, looking, you're 6. But that's about it. Daisuke, your dishware. This is going to be a really fun fact, real fast. But I completed Johnny's route, and Johnny was my first lover, and he's also my favorite character. We'll get on him later. But after I did Johnny, I had like a little moment where I was like, I really like this character. I'm a simp for this character. That's it. That's my husband. That's mine. But then I met Daisuke literally the next time I played the game, and I was like, Daisuke is going to be it. I'm just going to say he did not make the cut. Still a good character though, but sorry, man. I guess I like them wet and sloppy. Anyways, so what can we say about Daisuke? So Daisuke, he's gentle, he's mindful, he's very artistic. I kind of like that about him. I did find him to be a little bit more on the strict side, but once you talk to everybody and you're kind of getting intel about him, you found out, oh, he likes poetry. I like the poetry idea, but I'm just going to say this. Date Everything Devs, why am I writing about how much I want to bang Daisuke and then he's over here saying like, oh, I love it. No, he's kind of funny too. I can't lie, but like Daisuke, no, I would not write a poem like this about you. That just makes me look like a horny bastard. That's not who I am. Anyways, but other than that, I would rate his route an 8 out of 10. You know, no complaints there. And personally, I think that me and Daisuke, we would be lovers. I feel like, you know, we would enjoy a lot of quiet moments together. He is careful, he is gentle, and I mean, he said we don't want to disturb the dishes, so woo, I mean, shoot. But I don't think we would last very long, but you know what? It would be a good time for what it would be, alright, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, next up we have Dante, our fireplace, and I just want to say this right now. Everyone needs a Dante in their life. We all do. He's a hype man. He's smooth. He's sweet. He's trying to help you get relationships. Hello? I mean, come on. But I'm gonna rate us route a 6.5 out of 10. I just wish there was a little more than just us pretending to like flirt and all this stuff, or him teaching us his ways, because I feel like it's a little repetitive because we did that for like what, Tony and Dasha. There's probably another character in the midst too, I just don't remember it right now, but I'm just saying that I really feel like, yeah, there's not much, but you know what, it's okay. And I do want to say his pompadour does kill me. It's really nice in his dateable form, but like his realized form, I'm just like, please cut it off, man. Just cut it off. Like, we don't need a pompadour, please. Not in 2025. It's okay. But I would say that me and Dante, we would be really good friends. And I feel like he would warn me about a lot of guys, because in this 2025 climate, not all guys, but some of y'all are demons. Okay, the next one is Dasha. She's your desk. What can I say about Dasha? She is a sweetheart. She is adorable. And I mean, look at those muscles. She gave me uppies and literally, oh my gosh. Can I talk about like how I discovered Dasha? How I discovered Dasha is when I was talking to Abel, and I think he was like hinting towards him liking Dasha. And I was like, who's this Dasha chick? Like, I gotta go see her. And when I saw her, I was like, Abel, I understand what you mean right now. That is a woman. I want her. And then when you're talking to her, because first of all, she's trying to help you, you know, she's like, let me help you with your skills. And I'm like, Dasha, I want you. She wants to be like, no. Like, Dasha, don't play hard to get. I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna have you and I'm gonna want you. But I would say when I did her route, I had a little bit more of a better time than I did with Abel. So, you know what? 8 out of 10. And you know what? I did get them together. I got them together because I wanted Abel and Dasha to be happy. More specifically, Dasha. But when I was like, wait, Dasha, what about me? She's like, no, I love you too. You see, that's how I feel loved. That's how I feel wanted in a relationship, Celia and Florence. Please learn from their example, because I'm still a little hurt. But I will say, I think I would have a major crush on Dasha. I don't think I need to explain anymore. Just like look at her. Okay, Diana, your diary. I have a very soft spot for Diana. I do love her outfit. It's like very Alice in Wonderland, like Victorian. Oh, I love it. I don't even think that's Victorian. I might be right. I don't think I'm right. Anyways, but like, I really do like her outfit. I do like her little Mad Hatter hat. You know, it's really cute. She's very sweet. Once you really talk to her and you kind of understand her character, but she's also very complex. It's because she kind of reminds me of the dangers of oversharing and then over relying on someone to an extreme point where it can be overwhelming for someone else, especially where someone is in the position where all they are absorbing is what they're kind of reflecting on. It's more of like, that's how I kind of saw it. It's like she's trying to talk about these experiences, but they're our experiences. We're writing these down in a book. And she's absorbing it, and now she's kind of lost, and she doesn't have that sense of self, but she's able to overcome it. And now, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I just love her so much. Oh my gosh, I love her story. Also, why is she a poise character and not an empathy character? You see what I'm trying to say with some of these specs categories? Like, y'all should have had me in the booth there. I don't know, someone's gonna have to argue against me, but I'm just saying Diana should have been an empathy character. Just saying. But I would say that me and Diana would be really good besties. I feel like we could talk to each other about anything. As long as we're both maintaining and tending to our own gardens, then we can go and visit each other without feeling like, hey, this person's compost is getting here where it's not supposed to be. And that's kind of how her route ends anyways, where it's like, hey, instead of you just oversharing, let me overshare too. Like, come on, we like that. I like Diana. Now you like her too. And I do want to quickly say, I do rate her route a 9 out of 10. Would not change it. Nothing. I really like her route. It's really nice, and I feel like everyone should play it. Alright, next we have Dirk or Clarence, which is your dirty or clean laundry, okay? I'm going to talk about them kind of together because, yeah. Well, Dirk is one half of another route, which is for Harper as well, because they're in a toxic relationship. So I'm just gonna say this right here. I rate their route a 10 out of 10, only because I was low-key kind of toxic with them too, because literally they irritated me. I was irritated by them. And I was a little toxic when I did my first playthrough because I didn't like Harper at first, but we'll talk about her later. But with Dirk, you know, of course, he is also toxic. I have to argue and say he's also not faithful. I know someone's going to be like, wait, no, he never cheated on Harper. Let's think about this, because let's think about another couple in the laundry room that's also in like a whole little situation kind of thing going on, which is Washford and Drysdale. Let's talk about this. Drysdale was over here trying to flirt with Dirk and all this stuff, you know, taking his clothes off so we would see him naked. Come on. Okay, maybe Dirk didn't physically cheat, but there had to have been some emotional cheating. Like, come on. I am not convinced that he was like completely faithful. And I mean, it's not even the Batman thing. It's just a Drysdale and Dirk thing. There had to have been some sort of thing. I'm just going to say this. But, and as much as I don't like this word, but I don't know what better word to explain this, I do think that Dirk is a little bit misunderstood. And it's not just like he's completely misunderstood, but I think he's kind of like misunderstood. And the only reason why I think that is because he's let me just say this. Most of his needs are very complex. I would say if we're going to give them like an attachment style, he got to be like disorganized or something like that. I wouldn't call him an avoidant. I would just say disorganized. And I don't know, it's because he wanted structure, but then, you know, Harper kind of gives him that, but his view on structure is so distorted that like he's going for like something that he doesn't really want, but then he wants it. You know, I don't know. I just feel like he's misunderstood, even though that's not the word I would want to use and what I would want to explain, but that's just kind of like the closest thing of how I'm feeling. And yeah, that's it. And the same thing kind of goes for Clarence. And also, kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some characters where they have like alter egos, but I can't say, are they alter egos? Or are they their true selves? Or is it a DID situation? Because that also goes for like Timothy with Timmy and Dirk with Clarence. I'm not really sure, but just keeping the focus on Dirk and all this stuff, I'm going to say in a real life situation, me and Dirk, 100% we would have a situationship. I 100% would have a situationship with him, and it would be really bad. Up next, we have Dishy, your dishwasher. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Dishy made me incredibly uncomfortable. He's very creepy. All of his sprites creep me out, especially the front-facing ones. They creep me out. He did get the beep boop bop stuck in my head for a little bit, but then it started creeping me out. And, you know, I'm just a little scared, guys, and, you know, that's okay. But I will say, I'm going to give his route a 9 out of 10, not out of fear, but out of fear, I guess, because, like, I don't know. I don't like it because it's more about him pushing our boundaries and just wanting to do things. And I'm like, I don't want to say yes to this, but I have to say yes to get a love ending. It's kind of a little messed up. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because he made me very uncomfortable. Out of like all the characters or like all the creepy characters, I would not play his route at night. And I mean, look at his realized form. I'm sorry, he looks like a dish predator because like I feel like he would come into my house. He wouldn't say anything to me and then he would start washing my dishes. That's predatory enough. I don't need that in my life. But I would say Dishy is going to go to the no. Sorry, guys. Sorry to the Dishy lovers. But yeah, he's definitely a no. But yeah, there's not much I can say here. Sorry, guys. Anyways. Up next is everyone's favorite eye candy, Dorian the Doors. Okay, so what can we say about Dorian? So he's funny, he's eye candy, and he's British. That's so bad. Nothing against British people though. But I will say this, when he's in charge, he's in charge. Cause like in Arma's route, when he was like directing everybody, you know, there was a lip bite going on there, trap Dorian. Woo! You know, there's nothing wrong with eye candy, guys. It's okay. But I will say I'm going to give his route a 5 out of 10. Because, you know, you're just kind of going around talking to all the doors in your house. There's not really much to it. I did like Tiny Dorian, and that's how I got the love ending with him. It was very, very surreal when that happened. I was just like, wait, what? I should have went to Trap Dorian. But other than that, I'm going to put him on acquaintances. If you have seen the spoilers so far, because I want to mention this, Dorian and Betty, they're both getting body pillows. And I'm just going to say this. If they don't got a Johnny Splash one, I guess I'm going for Dorian. And I'm going to have no shame in it. But yeah, that's about it. So we have Drysdale, your dryer. Like, what can we say about Drysdale? He's a little iconic. He's self-absorbed. Like, look at him. Look at that pose right there. And he's a little dramatic. I mean, he's less dramatic than the two because his route is intertwined with Washford's. But I'm just going to say this because they're kind of separate on their own ways, kind of like Dasha and Abel. I'm just going to say this. Drysdale's a 5 out of 10. You know, I kind of like talking to Drysdale a lot more than I did Washford. But Drysdale is kind of like that person where you're just like, yo, bro, don't do something like that. Because he's over here telling you, like, what did I do wrong with Washford? And I'm like, you basically cheated on him. You know, what's going on? And now he's upset about it. You know, what are you doing? He's kind of like that friend, you know, he's kind of the friend that you tell somebody like, yeah, don't do this, bro, but you kind of want to watch them do it anyways. Not gonna lie. So with that being said, I think me and Drysdale would be friends more than anything because yeah, that's about it. And also, I don't think he would like me in a romantic sense because you know what? First of all, Washford, his little washy poo, and then I'm not athletic, so. Next is Dunk Shuttlecock, your sports equipment. Oh my gosh, come on guys. He's like a cutie patootie. He's happy, he's hopeful, and he's a little oblivious. And I'm just gonna say this, he kind of reminds me of Darwin from like the Amazing World of Gumball. Like, can you guys see the vibe? Like, come on, we have to be able to see this, come on. But the only downside with Dunk, and it's gonna be such a petty reason, but I kind of wish he was bald. I kind of wish he was bald. Like, when I realized him, he got hair. And I'm like, come on. Like, they kind of missed an opportunity to make him bald. It's not that he doesn't have nice hair. It's just, I wish you were bald. And that's about it. No hate to you, though, but I kind of wish you were bald. Anyways, but I think in real life, me and Dunk would be really good friends. We're kind of both optimistic. We're a little bit more on Oblivia's side. I think we just have a really good time. And I'm going to personally rate his route a 6 out of 10. No complaints there. I just wish he was bald. Alright, next we have our fan favorite, Eddie, who's your electricity. But I'm going to argue and say that I feel like Eddie is the breaker box and Volt is the electricity. I don't know. Okay, because let me just say this right now. So Eddie and Volt, they are basically a 2-in-1 situation. The way someone explained it one time is that they're Adam and Eve. And that's the best way I can see how they're not related in a sense. So at least no one's shipping someone kissing their brother or their cousin. But since Volt and Eddie are a conjoined route, I'm going to give them a ranking of 9 out of 10 because I really did have a good time playing their routes. I really did enjoy playing it for the first time, but here's the thing, I unfortunately was one of the people who did mess up and got their hate ending really fast because when you play their route, you basically need to choose both of them without the other one knowing, in a sense. Like, that's a worse way for me to explain it, but that's just how it is. Because when I first played, I was more into Volt, and then I was more into Eddie, and then I told Volt, and then it got me the hate ending. Yeah, that's, you know, I didn't know what I was supposed to do. But anyways, going on to Eddie. Eddie is more aloof at first, but you know what? He secretly wants company, and he is protective of Volt. You know, it's really cute. I like them. But I would say this. I think in real life, I would have a major crush on Eddie. We would be really good friends, but I would have a major crush on him. And I feel like we would definitely hang out. And I would 100% bother him with my shenanigans. And you know what? He would want me too. But I don't think either of us would say anything. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Because I'm a little on the shy side when it comes to like admitting how I feel about someone. I would rather show it and hope that someone just steps up and says something than rather saying something. And I think Eddie's on the same page, so we would both be stuck. So it's okay, but that's about it. Next, we have our lovable Fantina, your fan. So with Fantina, you know, not gonna lie, she is a little creepy, but she's very sweet and she's kind. When I started playing her route, of course, like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I was like, girl, you're hyping me up too much. I don't even know you. I like that Michael Burton voiced her. I think she did a really good job. But I would say this, I'm going to give her route a 6 out of 10. Only because it got a little too much at some point. I was just like, I don't know what to do. In real life, I think me and Fantina, we would actually be really good friends. And the reason why I say this, okay, if she was like obsessed with me, no, absolutely not. We're not going to be friends. We're not going to be even close to that. But if we wanted to be like fangirls together, you know, she was fangirling about something and then she wanted me to come along, yeah, sure. And same vice versa. Like, I feel like we would just be really good friends and we would kind of go crazy with each other. You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say. Up next, we have Florence Your Floors. Oh my lord. What can I say about Florence? Like, she's so sweet and I want to protect her. She's a little clumsy, but like, she's such a sweetheart. I love Florence. Not gonna lie, because Florence is the first person we see before you get to go and see Celia. You know, the little mirror, the nails and all this stuff. I remember seeing her for the first time and I was like, I'ma have you. I'ma want you. But you know what? She wanted Celia a little bit too much. So I was like, oh, no, I'll help you guys get together. It's okay. You know, I didn't cry myself to sleep that night. Definitely not. But alongside Celia, because their routes are intertwined, she's also a 9 out of 10. But I would say, I think in real life, I would have a massive crush on Florence. I would have a massive crush on her. Like, and it would also be like that thing where I kind of have a crush on her far away. And I'm just like, please pour the tea for me. And I'm just like, like just kind of yearning for her. I think that's what the reality would be, because I know she would just want Celia. And I'm like, it's okay. You can go for her. It's all right. It's okay. Go ahead. All right, we got Freddie Yeti, our fridge. Okay, listen, I'm just gonna say this. I like Freddie. He's very caring. He's also a foodie. I'm a foodie. I love food. Who doesn't? He calls us cool kid. That made me feel so warm. I loved his route. I'm rating it a 9 out of 10. I'm just gonna say this. He kind of reminds me of one of my uncles. So unfortunately, as much as I want that Freddie Yeti, and I don't want my uncle, and I don't want Sigmund Freud to win in this argument, he's gonna have to be a friend. Sorry, Freddie Yeti. We can still go out to eat though, but yeah, sorry guys. He kind of reminds me of my uncle, so like it's kind of jarring, and I'm like, yep, if only life were different. And also, Beauty and the Beast, like come on. And I kind of like this, and I'm just gonna say this right here, because you know how when Beauty and the Beast, when the Beast turns back into a human, he's kind of ugly. I am so glad they kept him as that Yeti. Thank you. He was handsome as the Yeti. Keep him as the Yeti. Can't say the same about the Beast. You know, Belle was a little disappointed, and so was I when I was a kid. Okay, up next we have Friar Errol, your air fryer. Okay, so what can we say about Friar Errol? So, he hates oil. He's bald. And he's a little pushy when it comes to the air fryer religion. Like, okay, like, I gotta be so honest. Okay, when I first played his round, he kind of creeped me out, but I still went for the love bounding. I just want to say the game did not give me full consent if I wanted to pull back from that cheese pull and not kiss him. And I'm still a little upset about that, because it's just like, you can stay there, but he is kind of funny. So like, I'll give him that, but I'm going to give his route a 4 out of 10. Only because he was just way too pushy. He's like, everyone must see the light. But I just want him to know that it's like, okay, man, I understand you want to convert people into your religion. You want to spread the gospel, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a Christian. I got to do the same thing. But we don't got to be pushy about it. Let's relax, okay? But because of this, I feel like me and Friar would be okay acquaintances. We could discuss religion, but I don't really know what else. Like, I would listen to him, and I hope he would listen to me too, without the expectation of either one of us converting to the other. But yeah, that's about it. All right, so we have Gaia. She's our globe. So, Gaia's pretty open. She's very curious. She's engaging. I kind of like doing her route, but I feel like her route was really more about getting to know the cultures of other Dateables, if that makes sense. So, not much about Gaia, except that she wants to travel and that there is a little bit of a language barrier. So a lot of people just don't understand her, or she gets way too excited and they get a little scared, which, is reasonable. I'm going to rate her route a 7 out of 10, just because I like hearing about like the other Dateables and where they come from. I don't know if they fixed how we introduce keys, because I don't remember exactly what the words were, but it was kind of crazy. And I was like, don't do her like that. But they did go ahead and went back and fixed Kopi's dialogue, so I think it's a lot better now. So yeah, that's pretty good, and I'm glad the devs do listen to us when we do voice these concerns. It's very good. Good job, devs. But I would say me and Gaia would be really good acquaintances. I think we would still have fun, and we would talk about a lot of travels, and I would ask her about a lot of travel destinations. Okay, next we also have another fan favorite, the Hanks. they're your hangers. Okay, so with the hanks, they're pretty funny. They're kind of a hive mind. They're adrenaline junkies and they're chill. I'm gonna rate their route a 5 out of 10. I don't know. You know what? They kind of, and this is gonna sound so bad, and I'm also gonna put them in acquaintances, but you guys gotta hear me out. But they kind of remind me of like football guys that kind of like peaked in like high school, but they don't peak in college, so they become frat boys. That's kind of what they remind me of. Sorry guys. But they're really funny. I would say Hank number 2. I'm kind of more drawn to Hank number 2, if anything. He's more of like the cautious one. I'm like, you know what? Me too, bro. Me too. But yeah, that's about it. They're still lovely though. Up next, we have Harper, the laundry hamper, and the other half of Dirk. So, as I said before, the route ranking is a 10 out of 10. Harper is a little bit more toxic, She's very clingy and controlling, but I'm also going to say that she deserves a lot better. When it comes to like an attachment style, I would think she might be disorganized or anxious, but disorganized also like a fearful and avoidant, like I don't know. Because she went through a really great loss, and because she didn't have enough time to process that, she goes on to Dirk, and now she's more controlling. But the thing is, the way she controls is also pushing him away, but then she's like, no, come back, and all this stuff. It's a lot of things, but I would say that she just deserves a lot more love and healing. And I would say out of the two, I do like Harper a little bit more, especially when you do Bobby Pin's route, and Bobby is just kind of like going through the laundry hamper, and immediately Harper is basically like, you're not going to take anyone away from me. I felt so bad because I didn't like Harper at first, but when I heard that, when I did Bobby Pin's route, I was like, I need to let loose on her. So I really do like Harper. She has a lot more potential, but I would say in real life, I think we'd just be acquaintances. Nothing's wrong with her character. I think that if we had to get to know each other in like real life, we would have to work on her dependency and just let her know and reassure her and just be like, hey, even if I go away for 2 seconds, I'm still here. She just needs a lot of reassurance until she can get herself into that place where she is more stable emotionally and mentally. But there's nothing wrong with her character. I would just think we'd be more acquainted. All right, it's time to talk about Hector, our HVAC system. So what can we say about Hector? So Hector, he's a little shy, he's gentle, he is a romantic. He is very sweet, and I mean, come on, he's adorable. I kind of related to him a little bit because I was also in that phase. Well, this is a little different, but when I was younger with that self-esteem issue where I was like, hey, I don't like the way I would look, I would hide behind filters, or I wouldn't post anything often. I didn't want to post my face, and if I did, I felt like I had to kind of create a front, especially in my everyday life. I always felt like I had to present something, and I had to hide a lot of things about myself because I was just really self-conscious. So I felt like with doing Hector, I kind of understood his route, and I understood his character, and I understood why he felt like, oh, I have to hide because maybe everyone's gonna see me differently. But when he came out of his little shell, I was like, oh yeah, we're cracking you first, okay, whatever. But I would rate his route a 10 out of 10. Also, he's a little submissive. Like, come on, let's talk about that. But I think in real life, me and Hector, I think we could be lovers. I don't know how long we would date, but I know we would be together for a good amount of time. Because you know what? First of all, you're going to trace all my curves. Hello? You're going to memorize it so you can paint it? I knew you were a freak. Like, let's talk about this, Hector. And I mean, some of his voice lines, like, oh, Lord. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. So we're going to be talking about Hoove, our vacuum. So Hoove, he's a hard worker, and I'm just going to say he's fine. And I'm just going to say this. He definitely bites. That's my headcanon. But let me actually elaborate that. Okay, I feel like he bites because he's kind of rude, okay? Okay, I was one of the people who did not know what to do. I thought we were just supposed to help him empty things out, but I guess I put too much pressure on him, and you know what? Reasonable. That's understanding. Okay, sorry, dude. I didn't know. But like, literally, he just got so rude at some point. He's like, I'm not into you. I was like, oh, I was so hurt. I was like, come on, Hoove. Like, let's talk about this. But I'm going to give his route a 5 out of 10 only because I got cut off so early. And I've been a little afraid to go back and play his route a little bit because I'm like, dude, I do not know what I'm supposed to do here. You're going to have to help me out. I'm going to have to get a guide. But I would say in real life, I think me and Hoove would just be acquaintances. He is a really sporty guy. Like, yeah, sure, I would go to a game or two with him, but I wouldn't really know what's going on, and I don't know what else we would have in common, but I think we'd be really good acquaintances. Next, we have Holly. She is the holiday decor. So with Holly, I kind of see her as like the Pinkie Pie of Date Everything alongside with Zoe, but she's fun. She's a hard worker. She's really adorable. I love her design. It's very cute. But I'm going to give her route a 6 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with this one. She was the last dateable I romanced. She was the last one. Johnny being the first character I completed, and then Holly being the last one I completed. Those two are just so vastly different. That's a little weird anyways. But I would say I did like playing her route. I liked Betty, Kopi, and Florence. They all came in. They were trying to support your girl. It was really cute. And then we got to take her out on a little date. It was so sweet. Come on. We gotta talk about this more. But I think in real life, me and Holly would be friends. She's definitely going to be my wedding coordinator because she will be there. But you know what I'm going to tell her? Take a break and make sure you have other help. But you know what? She would just be there. And I don't know what's her beef with Jerry, but it's kind of real. She just said, I don't like Jerry. I don't know what he did, but like it was kind of funny. All right, next we got our magic man, Ronaldini. He's your iron board. Okay, so I'm just going to say this is going to sound so random, but he's a 10 out of 10. And the only reason why he's a 10 out of 10 is because I love watching magic tricks, specifically card tricks. They amaze me, and I'm somewhat learning how to do magic card tricks too. I haven't practiced in a while, but like, you know what? I love doing magic tricks to people because then they're like, how the f do you do that? I'm like, magician's code. I could just say this right here. I would have a massive crush on Ronaldini, I'm not gonna lie, and it would just be because of the magic tricks, because he would amaze me so much that I would want to amaze him. I'm gonna ride him off. I don't think I should say it on the internet, but you know what, it's okay. I'm a top him for sure. And also he was like really funny to like seduce, because like I would flirt with him. He was like so easily flirted. He was so easily flustered. I was like, oh my gosh, like he's a fun character, and I feel like we all need to talk about him a little bit more. All right, it's everyone's favorite French rapper, Jean-Loup Pissoir, the toilet. Okay, so I want to say this. I like Jean-Loup. You know, he had really nice flows. He's really funny. I'm going to give his route a 10 out of 10 because I did have a good time playing it. Fun fact, I think it was like his third interaction. It was way before he told us we had to go grind for stats and all this stuff. But he literally came up. He was just like, hey, to do this, you need to have rhythm. You need to have flow. And the first thing I said was, I'm black. I got both of those things. I failed miserably. I have never quit a game so fast in my entire life because I was like, ain't no way that just happened. I humbled myself really good. But I would just say this personally, against him, I would lose immediately. He would come after me and I would be like, well, you're French. And then I would just walk away out of shame. Anyways, but I think in real life, me and Jean-Loup would just be acquaintances. Like, he is someone I feel like I would watch on TikTok in like an epic rap battle and I would admire for sure. Like, he would be like on Wild and Out. And that's about it. That's like the only type of environment I would see him in. And that's fine. That's okay. But also, just like a really weird note, I kind of find it a little unfair that he was just an accountant. He could have been an underground SoundCloud rapper. Like, come on, at least let him somewhat achieve his dreams, or even be an aquarium person. Marine biologist. Yeah, let him be a marine biologist. Like, what's going on? Like, they literally just stuck him with accountant. I'm like, okay, dang. Help me with my taxes. Help me with my money. Help me with my numbers. Like, what's going on? But then also, he has stinky breath. Why do you have stinky breath? Why they do him like that? Come on. Okay, now we have the lovable junk drawer, Jerry. So Jerry is kind of a silly little guy. He's very charming. He's lovable. I'm gonna give his route a 5 out of 10 because No, there wasn't really much to it for me. It's a very quick and easy one. If I'm so honest, I didn't get his love ending at first. I just helped him make art, or at least another aspect of art. And then I got the friend ending, and I was like, oh, okay. But then when I went back in for my made everything route, now I got him as a lover. He's so cute, and he says he gets dizzy when he thinks of me. And I'm like, purr. But I think in real life, we would just be acquaintances. I don't know. I don't know. He's still very charming, but acquaintances nonetheless. All right, next we're going to be talking about Keys, my beautiful, gorgeous, my bodacious wife, Keys. She's your piano, by the way. But what can I say about Keys? She's so breathtaking. She's so charming. She's so adorable. Oh my gosh, she's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I also have a lot of voice envy for her. Like, and I'm just going to say this. If you were to ask me, like, May, how would you want to look like her? Exactly like her. She is so pretty. There is nothing I can't. Like, please go play her route. Go play it over and over again until you love her. If you haven't loved her yet. She's so cute. She's a little bit of a diva, but then she's also like, but I mean this. She's so cute. Oh, I love her. And I love her friendship with Rainy and Telly. Like, come on. It's so cute. So I'm just going to say her route is a 10 out of 10. I would do it all over again, front and back. When she calls us her darling. Oh, Keys, I love you. And I'm just going to say this. I can see myself marrying Keys. 100%. She's so cute. She's so adorable. I'm never going to let her go. She could divorce me and that would be fine. You know, I would cry myself to sleep every single night for like the next 10 years. But you know what? Maybe even 100. But I would never let her go. My throat is about to give out. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Christoph, our cross trainer. There's not really much I can say about Christoph. He's passionate. He's loud. He got muscles. But I'm going to rate his route a 2 out of 10. And I'm going to put him in the no section. He's just so intense for me. And I low-key had beef with him ever since I did Penelope's route. And basically, he told her that she basically had chicken legs. Like, why are you going to say something like that, Chris? I'm like, come on. And then basically, her only potential was how scrawny she was. Get the f*** out of here, dude. I'm sorry. I'm still beefing with him on that. But he is kind of funny, so I'll give you guys that. Sorry, Christoph fans. It's nothing personal. Okay, so let's talk about Lucinda. She is the DLC for Date Everything. So her route was more centered on self-discovery. And I really like that about her. Like, despite her obviously being like a male gaze kind of character, you know, it's kind of obvious. I did like that she was just trying to figure out who she was and, you know, her purpose. Because basically all she was put into the game for was just to be like an addition, but she's way more than that, and she just got to discover that she's very passionate and she's very loving. So her route was a 10 out of 10. I very much enjoyed talking to her, getting to know her. The only thing I would say that I didn't like is when I would just try to talk to another character and then she would appear. That got annoying real quick. It's not like Rebel, where at least they come after, you know, you're talking to a character and they don't take one of your charges. But Lucinda, you took a lot of my charges when I was really trying to focus. So sorry, girl, but that's about it. But I think me and Lucinda would be friends in real life. Like, I feel like she is a baddie and she could help me be a baddie. We'd be baddies together. Like, I really think we would have a really good vibe. We would have a good time. All right, guys, we got Luke Nukem, our microwave. So he kind of reminds me, I don't know, just if you guys have ever watched SpongeBob and like Barnacle Boys, like, you all cooked, that's kind of the vibes Luke gives me. He's not old at all, but he just reminds me of like an old cooked, and I don't even know what it is. But he is a very funny character. He's also a military man. He's also a whimperer. Let's talk about this, guys. Let's not ignore this, okay? He's a whimperer, and some of us wanted some free whimpering audios and we got it for free, and none of us were talking about it enough. So come on, guys. That's also, he's a little bit on the, I don't think he's that submissive, but I think he is submissive. But I would say I have a really good time playing his route. He's really just out there, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's just kind of there, and I love him. He's spontaneous. But I would say his route is an 8.5 out of 10 for me. kind of like that. The only thing I didn't like was when he was just the whole magnetron thing, and then he's just like, "Are you calling me a liar?" Quite frankly, I wanted to just say yes, because why'd you tell me that? But you know what, I kind of understood. He's just trying to do something with himself. I can't blame the guy. And then he told me I was doing good, so you know what, it's all right. And then I think Loki would kind of probe him at the end. There's nothing much I can say about that. But I think I would have a crush on Luke in real life. Like, he's just kind of stupid, and I like that about him. You know, that's about it. It's a little, yeah, I feel like a fourth grader. Why do you like Carl? I don't know. He's stupid. That's about it for me. All right, next we got Lux. They're the lights. Respectfully, I'm gonna say this. I think they have the best design in the entire game, in my opinion. And the only reason why I say that is I kind of think I'm some sort of moth that's like admired by any type of light and would be very attracted to lights. Because I just remember seeing Lux and I was like, they're so perfect. I like them. But they are definitely a rage baiter and they're sassy. And they irritated me majority of the time because I was just like, I'm trying to love you. And then at some point, like, we were friends, and then they ignored me, and I was like, you know what, fuck you, Lux, I don't like you. And then I got the hate ending, and I was like, you know what, fuck you, but that's fine. But I'm gonna rate their route a 3 out of 10, only because I kind of wish I knew more about them outside of them being like this caricature of an influencer. Like, that's just kind of how I feel. I wish we got to know a little bit more about Lux, but you know what, sometimes you don't need to know much about the character to love them. So I kind of get it, but also I kind of see Lux as the child of Volt and Eddie, or maybe even best friend of Eddie. Kind of have to see it how I see it. Anyways, but I think in real life it's a no. I think Lux would just annoy me. If they were less of a rage baiter, yes, we would be friends, but it's gonna have to be a no for the way they are. And you know what? They don't have to change for anybody. Someone else will love them the way they need to be loved. Up next, we have Mac, your computer. So Mac is a little sensual, you know, kind of cute, but you know, I'm just gonna say this, it kind of hurt me. Because I'm just gonna say this, and I feel like we gotta put this into the surface. They kind of low-key love bombed us. If we really think about it, they wanted an upgrade, then they immediately started flirting with us, and then as soon as they get upgraded, you know what they do? They're like, we gotta see other people. The fuck? Because you know what? Because of that, Mac, you're getting a 5 out of 10 for that route ranking, because like that pissed me off beyond measure, because I was like, I thought we were vibing, and then I got love bombed and all this stuff. But because of this, I think me and Mac would actually have a situationship in real life. I mean, they redeemed themselves. They're just like, you know, they come back. They're like, wait, I really want to be with you. But you know what? You should have decided that before you started love bombing me and then used me to get an upgrade. And then you turn around and just wanted to date other people. Maybe you should have thought about that a little bit, Mac. But yeah, situationship at best. Okay, up next is Maggie, your magnifying glass. Okay, she's so adorable. I love her design. She's very curious and she's really on it when she's trying to figure out her mysteries and try to work things out. I just want to say this. I think we solved a lot of mysteries together. I think we were a perfect team. I give her out a 10 out of 10. I just want to say, Hugh Sinclair for making me fumble Maggie. We'll deal with him later, but you know, Hugh. Really, because we kissed, it was like magic, and then all of a sudden, I just didn't know if that man was a man or a Muppet, and then I failed. Hugh Sinclair, come on. But I would say in real life, I think me and Maggie would be good friends. I feel like she would help me solve a lot of mysteries, or we play a lot of mystery games together, but she would be right, I'd be wrong. We could also go to an escape room together. Ooh, that'd be really fun. And I feel like she would help me find info on some people. Sometimes you just gotta find info on people, okay? I'm not a weirdo. I'm just being real. Okay, so here we have the beautiful Lady Memoria, your memories. So Lady Memoria, to me, she's really sentimental. She's reflective. I mean, she's beautiful too. She kind of reminds me of Morticia Adams. That's like the vibes she's going for. You know, like, we gotta be honest with ourselves. I did like her route. I do rank it a 10 out of 10. I do love reflecting, especially when I kind of look at old memories or things that kind of bring out nostalgia. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is who I used to be. I'm so different now. It's like a little treat to yourself. You know, it's a really good thing to reflect, because then it also helps you look forward to the future. What do you want? What do you want to see in yourself? Really nice. Very good. And I mean, fun fact, for Halloween this year, I kind of wanted to costume down her. I didn't celebrate Halloween the way I wanted to this year, but it's okay, maybe next year. But I'm gonna say this, I think me and Lady Memoria would be friends. We'd be really good friends actually. And also she is also another character that kind of went into the therapy field. I think she was more of a counselor or just like a self-coach. I don't really remember, but I love that about her. And 100% I think we would talk about that a lot. We would talk about like on certain counseling techniques, or we're talking to people or talking to clients. I feel like it'd be a really nice time. Okay, now we have J. Michael Tatum. I mean, we got Mitchell Lynn, our food. So what can we say about Mitchell? So Mitchell's a food connoisseur. He's a critic, and he is kind of nice. I kind of like him. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna rank him a 5 out of 10, only because he kind of scares me because I don't know what I'm supposed to do for his route. It feels like I'm not smart enough for him, but that's okay. But I think we'd be friends in real life. You know, we're both foodies, but the thing is, I'm a little bit more on the picky side, and I'm lactose intolerant, and I have a lot of like dietary restrictions. But I think we would work it out. And also, if he likes to cook, shoot, we could cook together, and I could win him over with some soul food. I'm gonna win him over. That's how I'm gonna get his love, period. So next we have Monique, and she's your money. So what can we say about Monique? So Monique, her design, I love it. It's really cute. I kind of like the greens. I like the brown. I like the gold. I love it all. She is a very pretty character. And what I remember from her, she is on the anxious side. I think it's low-key like agoraphobia, kind of like the fear of kind of going outside of the safe, which I kind of understand, and there's no judgment here. But I know she personally would judge me with my financial responsibilities, especially during the hype of my NSP hyperfixation. I think she would have hated my guts. I was not responsible at all. But from what I know, because I only got her friend ending because I did the quiz and I guess it just wasn't enough. I don't know what's going on. But from what I know, and I haven't done her romantic ending, I haven't gotten her love route yet. From what I heard, we get to take her on little dates around the house, and you know what, I'm very excited for that. But for right now, because I don't know that side of her, but that is something I am looking forward to, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Nothing wrong, but I do think that we'd be acquaintances in real life. No hate, but that's just how it is for now. Okay, up next we have Nightmare. Your nightmares. Okay, so let me just get this straight. It was kind of hard for me to find Nightmare at first because I just didn't know what to do until I drank coffee one night, and then boom, she appeared. Well, hello there. What can I say about Nightmare? First of all, I did like her route. I did like it, but I would say I had a little bit of trouble because I don't like being creeped out. But you know what? I was aware, and I still went for it because, like I said, I wanted to experience the game for what it was. So yeah, that's what I did. I would say she's really majestic. She's voiced by Erica Luttrell, who also voices Sapphire from Steven Universe. Because I remember playing her around, I was like, that gotta be Sapphire. And when I went up to behind the voice actor, I was like, got you. I know that's you. However, I'm gonna have to say her route is gonna get a 7 out of 10. You know, I did like the little stories she had that kind of reflected your answers when she asked, what are you afraid of? I kind of like those little stories. It's like, this is so unsettling, but you know what? I guess I could deal with this for now. But you know what? It was very good, 7 out of 10. But I will have to say, relationship wise, I'm gonna have to put her in a no. And the only reason why I'm gonna put her in a no is because I think realistically, if I saw Nightmare the way she was, I'm probably going to get my crucifix in holy water. And, you know, there's no offense to her, no offense to her design. It's just, I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to be. And I got to be realistic with that. All right. Up next, we have Parker, your board games. Now, Parker is a little bit of an oddball. He's kind of a menace to society, as I like to think about it. He's also, I think he's on drugs, low key. I don't remember if this is canon, but I think it's canon. He's on something. There's nothing to explain his character, but I like that he's really out there. And first of all, I just want to say this. I did have a really good time playing his route. I felt like when I was playing his route, did I cheat? Yes, I did. I didn't cheat in game. I just looked up the tutorial because I was stressed out. And at the time when I got to Parker, I was really just trying to wrap up the game. So yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't vanilla with it. But you know what? Who isn't vanilla with this game sometimes? Like, none of us could find Doug on our own, did we? If you did, congratulations. Okay, maybe I shouldn't judge. But I'm gonna say his route was a 6 out of 10 for me. I didn't like the fact that I think one of the games is based on chance, and I think whether you get his love, hate, or friend ending is also based on chance. I don't remember that. That's what I read. Hopefully it's not true, because Doom my Made Everything run is going to be a little harder than I thought. But I will say overall, I'm going to rate his route a 6 out of 10. And I would say Parker, I'm going to get a friends vibe for him. But I didn't put this as a tier, but I'm going to say frenemies, because I feel like we'd be really good friends, but I'm very competitive and he's also very competitive and I like to win. And I feel like if we were going to play like a game or something like that, we would have a fun time. But any side of me losing, and I'm already going to turn on this guy and I'm probably going to throw him out the window. Okay, so now we are on to Penelope, your office supplies. So Penelope, oh my gosh, don't get me started on her. She is so cute. She's a little quirky. She's a little dorky. You know, she reads her little motivational quotes. I loved her the first time I saw her. But what I remember when I first played her route, I was in that weird area in my life where I was just like hyping Penelope up, and I was like, girl, you cannot be going on these dates with these people. Like, this is not enough. They're not appreciating you for who you are. And that made me think a little bit about myself. I was like, this is a little bit self-projective. But anyways, but I would say her route is really fun. I kind of like her going on the dates and then telling her, she's like, yeah, this didn't work out. And I'm like, yeah, because you need to date me instead. But she kind of reminds me of Penny Pingleton from Hairspray. I kind of did this thing where I kind of put certain characters and assigned them to characters in Hairspray, but that's like a scrapped video thing and I don't really have time to say that out loud. I don't know, maybe I'll put that somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to rate her route a 9 out of 10. She's just a cute little nervous girl, and you know what? She's a great reminder that a lot of us deserve the best and we can get the best. In terms of relationship, I think she's going to be placed in the friends tier. Nothing wrong with her. I just really do see her more as someone like I would just look over, you know, watch and just watch her grow as the beautiful young lady she is. But I did get her love ending, and oh my gosh, when you try to do a little something before she leaves, she is a freak. It's always the quiet nerdy ones, and you know what? We shouldn't judge. Next, we got my girl Phoenicia. She's your phone. So Phoenicia, I really liked her route. She's kind of a good reminder of what happens when you overwork yourself, especially when you're putting out content or anything like that. Now, I can't say nothing on YouTube or TikTok because those things are kind of easy. But when I was in my burnout stage when it came to YouTube, I just remember I was like, I want to do more for my content and I want to do more for the subscribers, or at least people who are commenting and all this stuff. But I was just like, I'm just so overwhelmed with everything happening that I just need to take a break and just figure out what I need to do instead of just pushing it, because then I just won't do it anymore. So I understood Phoenicia in that aspect. And she kind of reminds me of the song by TWRP, Content For You, because she's just trying to put everything out there even though she's overheating and she just needs to take a break. And I love her design. I love her realized design. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. A lot of these characters, let me just say this, people of color characters are not talked about enough. Why is that? But granted, if you ask anybody, who's your favorite character? They're probably underrated anyways. All their favorite characters are underrated. But you know what? Some of them need a little bit more love. So Percy, Phoenicia, Tyrell, Reggie. Should I keep going? Dunk. Let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about it in the comment section. It's time. Let's get them some time to shine, okay? But I'm going to say overall, I do rate her route an 8 out of 10 because I did have a good time. You know, I got to see Freddy Yeti too. I like when some of the characters get to come into the other routes and I'm like, yee, hi. But I did like her ending where she became like an artist and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect for her. So I'm going to say this, relationship wise, I think me and Phoenicia would be besties. We're going to have to be besties. Like, I need someone like Phoenicia in my life. I need someone who's just going to be real with me, who's just going to be there for me, and who's going to be supportive, and I'm going to support her, and we're going to go paint murals together. Up next, we have Prissy, and she's your plants. We're not going to call her fake, okay? She's real to me. So Prissy, she's very optimistic. I love her design. She's so cute. I think that, and this is just my humble opinion, someone draw her with a boho look. Like, they missed an opportunity. Like, I guess you could say her realized outfit was kind of boho-ish, but you know what? There can be a little bit more boho if you know what I mean. But can we also talk about her realized hair? She got that bust down. I was like, hey, girl! But when I was playing her out, I did have a fun time because you know what? She was a little delulu, but here's the thing. She seemed delulu, but she wasn't, because she was just able to spread and blossom herself. And you know what? She kind of reminds me that I need to believe in myself a little bit more. She's a good reminder of that. So if you ever feel a little down on yourself and feel like you can't hype yourself up, or you know, there's just nothing for you to look at, go play Prissy and Amir's route, and I think you're gonna be fine. Well, there's gonna be other things you gotta do too, but you know, at least there'll be very good reminders. But I'm gonna rate her route an 8 out of 10 as well. And I would think me and Prissy would be really good friends. Also, she's like into nature, and I like going outside. I don't know how to explain it, but I like going outside. Like when it's really nice and warm outside, I like to go outside, sit down, write, draw, do whatever I want to do, and just take it in, because it actually is very peaceful. And I'm just vibing. It's really good, and I think me and Prissy could do that. And especially, listen, if we can hunt my favorite flowers so I can see them in person, all the better. So yes, friends. All right, next we have the king of hate, Regina Rejection, or Reggie, and he is the concept of rejection. Can we go ahead and talk about his design? Like, I don't know what about his outfit makes me so jealous. I'm like, why don't I have something like that? He's so the dreadlocks, everything. And then sometimes I look at him, I'm like, dude, I really want you, and you would want nothing to do with me. He's kind of a but he could support my petty endeavors. So like, what's up? Like, come on. So playing his route, when I first did my first run, I got the friendship ending, because of course, like, I guess the way for him to love you is that you have to fight him with love. It's kind of a weird concept. I thought you would have to go for hate, and you know what? I should have known. That was a little easy. And you know what? It was kind of funny. It was kind of enjoyable doing that either way. Don't know how to get him to hate me, but we'll figure it out soon. But I would say his route was a 10 out of 10. You know, it was very fun. It was very simple. Nothing too big, nothing too small. And his personality, you just gotta love him. But I would say, relationship-wise, I think me and Reggie, we could be really good best friends. Because why not? I would want him to be my best friend. But the thing is, I am that person that would be like, sunshines, rainbows, and the power of love. And I think he would fucking hate me for it. But you know what? If he can get along with me, we'd be really good besties. And you know what? I might develop a crush on him. Okay, let's talk about Rod. He is your curtain Rod. Okay, so I would say between Kurt and Rod is a little bit more of the sassier one of the two. I would say he also, I mean, they're both pretty flirtatious, but I feel like Rod leans more into that flirtatious vibe a little bit more. And I'm like, okay. And he's cute, okay? Let me just say. And I didn't get their romance ending until just now, but I found a little clip that when you realized him, I guess like they were like, wait, what if someone's watching? He said, let them watch. I said, God, okay. So you can already guess that he's gonna go on the crush tier. 100%. He's going to my crush tier, and I would hope we become lovers. Like, oh my gosh, I would be so down bad for Rod. He is, please. All right, up next is Rebel, your rubber ducky. So with Rebel is a little bit of a wild card for me, because at first I didn't like them, and I got their friend ending, I believe, because I was just too wishy-washy. I just didn't know that was supposed to happen. I don't know, but I would say over time I started to warm up to Rebel when I first did my first run, but now I'm about to do them in my Mate Everything run, and I don't know much about them. I know there's a little bit more to them than the insults and the hypersexualization. But for right now, from what I know from their friendship ending, which is what I got, I'm going to rate them a 5 out of 10, only because I'm waiting to explore more. And from what I know right now, they're pretty fine, but hopefully with the Made Everything run and getting their love ending, I'll be able to expand a little bit more on their character. But relationship wise, I think it's gonna have to be a no. And the only reason why is because I think I would take their insults way too personally, and I would actually be really upset about that. So sorry, Rebel. It's gonna be a no for now. This one's no stranger. The Scandelabra, your candelabra, or candles. I'm not really sure what he is exactly. But the Scandelabra, you know what? He's something, okay? I'm just gonna be so honest. He can be kind of a creep, but he's funny. And he also has a little alter ego, John Wick. I didn't get the John Wick ending personally. I've been seeing clips online, but I still don't really know what happens. But I've seen John Wick, so I know something's up. I would say this. The Scandelabra is kind of a gossip, you know? And when he's not just asking you to kiss his candelabra or polishing his knob, he's telling you about your lovers and how they're all a scandal. And you know what? That's very fun to listen to. But I'm going to rate his route a 10 out of 10. Only because I think he's funny. And that's really about it. But relationship-wise, I think we'd be besties. And I would tell him my gossip, I would tell him my tea, but you know what? If he goes and turns around and tells anybody else anything I told him, I'm beating his 100%. Up next, we have Shelly. She is your shelves. Now, Shelly is somewhat relatable for me because both of us have some anxious tendencies, but for Shelly, she kind of reminds me of Luisa from Encanto. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Don't roast me on my pronunciation. But she kind of reminds me of that because basically her route is basically she's trying to hold everybody together. She's trying to be the positive one. She's trying to be the very supportive one, but she's taking all of that in. And now she's accepting the pressure because it's like, well, now I have to perform well. Now I have to do well. And I kind of understand that in a sense. But as much as like I'm not holding that type of expectation of myself by holding everyone else's emotions, being the support group for everyone, I kind of do it to myself. I am in charge of my own standards, and I set my standards a little too high to the point where like the only thing that's crushing me is the overwhelming amount of pressure I put on myself because I'm trying to exceed. I'm trying to do my best. And to the point, for at least for Shelly, she can get very positive, but it's not the positivity that is needed. It's just very toxic. That's how she describes it. So I really do understand that on a emotional level. But I would say the only downside to her route is that I kind of wish that there was like a little bit of a smoother transition from the last conversation we had when she just like said, hey, I need a little minute to myself. And then she's like, turns out I have toxic positivity. I love you. No, I wish there was like a little bit of a smoother transition there. But other than that, I'm going to rate her route an 8 out of 10. But I'm going to put Shelly in the friends tier. I think we'd be really good friends despite us going through our little anxious tendencies. But I think with enough time, we could help each other out, give each other tips on, you know, helping each other breathe for like 2 seconds and kind of get ourselves back into that grounded space where we're like, we don't have to overperform. So I think that'd be a bonus. Okay, it's time for the Sinclair. So Sinclair, to be honest, he kind of reminds me of like, I don't know. I feel like he's just that guy you would see somewhere. Like, you know, he's just there to always say something to you and you're always there listening. You're just like, that's nice, Sinclair. Like, that's how I feel about him. But you know what? He can't help it. No one knows what really happened with him. I know he tells us the story, but I don't really know. But he is kind of funny. He has sudsy. It's like, you know, Sinclair is something. But you know what? I'm going to say this. He made me fumble Maggie. He made me fumble Maggie because I couldn't tell what he was. I didn't know if he was a human. I didn't even know if he was a sink. It pissed me off and that got me up. And you know, I'm a little petty about that. And because I am petty about that and I'm still petty about it to this day, 1 out of 10 for his route. I'll never forgive Sinclair for that one. And you know what? I think relationship wise, we'd just be acquaintances. I don't know what I could do with Sinclair. I don't know what I could do with him in a sense. Okay, up next we have Skylar, and she is the Dateables. So Skylar is a pretty fun character. I do love her design. I remember seeing it for the first time. I was like, okay, I really like her skirt. I think that's like my favorite part of her design and her hair. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us do see her more as like the tutorial lady, because that's most of the things that happen. But I mean, it's not her fault. She is the date creator, so you know, she has to be the one that kind of leads us. I kind of wish she was a little bit more involved outside of her kind of just being the mascot of the game, outside of the sassy chat. But you know, I wouldn't know what else we could do for her outside of the suspension of disbelief that's happening in her deviators, because most of the things she kind of tells us, she does tell us a lot more lore when it comes to the characters and how we are able to see them as humans through the deviators. But other than that, it was very interesting. But other than that, I just kind of wish there was more for her character. And then plus, I'm just gonna say this, to understand the thing theory, I had to understand string theory, and I still don't understand string theory, but it's somewhere. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna rate her route. Honestly, it's gonna be a 4 out of 10. I wish it was more, but for what we have right now, we got what we got. And I'm gonna say she is gonna be an acquaintance, just because I don't really know much about her, and I feel like we kind of take her for granted because we're wearing her every single day, and she's kind of watching us talk to other characters. If we think about it, this is a sad game. Anyways, okay, let's go with Sophia. You're safe. Okay, so let's just say this right here. She's a dominatrix. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just want to say her introduction was very strong for me. Yes, she is a little bit of a spicy character, but it was kind of just like, And like, I went through with Harrell because I was like, maybe this will be interesting. You know, I want to play the game fully. And yeah, for my May Everything run, I really did just kind of skipped her, you know, just got her love ending. Because it's just, I don't know, the story wasn't really interesting. Maybe it's interesting for other people who are into BDSM, or I don't know what type of thing this is. I know it's like submissive role play or something like that. If you're into that, if you're into getting dominated, all to you. But yeah, her route's gonna be a 1 out of 10 for me, and I'm just gonna put her on that note here. Okay, so now we got my favorite cook. We got Stefan. He is your stove. Now Stefan, okay, I have a little bit of a gripe with Stefan, and it's a little bit on the nose here, but I just kind of want to say this. I don't like the fact that he's aggressive in a sense as a black man. It's a little bit like, I don't think they're trying to make this offensive in any way, but I still feel like this should be said. And let me just kind of piggyback on this and kind of add with Phoenicia's name. Phoenicia's name kind of bothers me because it feels so like stereotypical, you know. It's like, bye Felicia. It's like those things where it's like, I don't think the intention was to hurt, but it's like, this should be noted going forward. But other than that, when it comes to Stefan, I really do like Stefan. I liked his route, and he's kind of me in the kitchen. When I'm in the kitchen, I just like being in the kitchen. I like doing what I need to do. As soon as someone tries to come and help me without, you know, asking or anything, I start getting overstimulated because I'm like, no, let me do this by myself. Like, just go. It's okay. But I would say Stefan is a really good character. He was really fun to talk to, you know, especially when he's like interacting with the friar. He's just like, oh, a ghost. He was so me, you know. I love that about him. And I'm going to rate his route a 10 out of 10. I would do it over and over and over and over and over again. And I would say we would be very good friends. And I think we would be really good cooking buddies. And unlike Michelin, I genuinely believe that Stefan would actually help me eat stuff or cook stuff that I could eat with no judgments. With Michelin, I know he would judge me a little bit before helping me. Stefan would just be like, okay, no dairy, all right, let's go, we can do this. Okay, we got Stepford. He's your trophies. Okay, I don't know why I want this golden twink so bad, because I remember seeing him for the first time and I was like, yeah, that's a trophy. And he started talking. I was like, oh, fuck, now I want him. Like, he's kind of stupid, but I want him. He's like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, anytime I'm playing his route, I'm like, I'm gonna have a good time, you know. And it kind of reminds me of like those like little training montages that people do, or like they do in the cartoons. Or like there's like that one episode of like a cartoon where like the character has to like get into shape and train and all this stuff. That's just what it reminds me of, and I love it. I love that trope. It's so stupid, but I love it. But I'm just gonna say this, when I did my first run, I did sleep with Stepford. the night before the competition, and I don't regret it, but I do because I wanted to love him and be his lover right after he told me he wanted to be my first place lover. I got nah. Like, why did I get punished for being a slut? Come on, guys. Like, this is not fair. But you know what? Other than that, I'm gonna rate his route a 10 out of 10. I would do it over again. And I think, relationship-wise, Stepford, we're gonna have to have friends with benefits going on. Like, I'm gonna be so honest, because like we'd be really good friends and even good lovers, but we would just not become an item. Like, I don't know why I would think that way, but I see him, I see me, I'm like, yeah, friends with benefits. That's about it. Take the time and rewind, because now we got Telly, your television. I can't rhyme for Anyways, let's talk about Telly real quick. So first of all, Telly got some really nice flows. Like, when they started rhyming, I was like, oh my gosh, because I love characters who can rhyme. I love songs that rhyme. Like, my favorite singer is Dan Avedon, and in some of his songs you can see like most of the lyrics consist of rhymes, and I'm like, I just like rhymes. I don't know what it is about rhymes, but it's just like everything just makes sense. It's like a bell clanging. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I love rhymes. I love characters who can rhyme, because it kind of makes me think, how did these characters do this? Because I can't come up with a rhyme. But outside of his great flows, he told me to stare into his tube until my eyes start glowing. And you know what? Yes, sir. I'm going to do that. And, you know, arms. And also, I did like his route, because first of all, his route is really centering about trying to be relevant when everything is kind of progressing and it feels like you're falling behind. And he's over here like, yo, I feel obsolete. He's not obsolete. I still love you, Telly. But I would say, other than that, I do like his route. I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10. And I'm just going to say this right here. I would have a massive crush on Telly. I would want them so much in my entire life. I was like, please just give me a chance. We can do something together, please. Okay, up next we have Textbox Chan. I'm gonna be so honest. Textbox Chan was one of the characters I kind of did last, and I haven't gone back to her just yet in my Made Everything run. So from what I remember, she was just telling me to go realize a bunch of dateables, or awaken a bunch of dateables, and then come talk to her a little bit. And then she was telling me about UI. I don't really remember much for her. And I don't think she was much of a character for me. Yeah, she's unfortunately a 2 out of 10 when it comes to the route. And yeah, sorry, girl. And I'm gonna have to put her in the no tier. I'm so sorry. I hear the thousands of hearts breaking at the moment. You guys can still love her though. You know, it's more for her to go around for you guys. I'm so sorry. Anyways, up next we have the Sassy Chap. And he is the developers of the game. Well, in a sense, he's also the mascot for Date Everything, or at least the mascot for the company. Kind of goes both ways. So what can we say about the Sassy Chap? Okay, first of all, he's yellow. I like that. I like that in a man. I like a little jaundice. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. The Sassy Chap, he's kind of funny. I liked him. I think his voice actor did a really good performance. But I would say, because of how tedious the route is, because you have to answer all the questions from the devs and all this stuff, I was like, this isn't that fun. For me personally, I'm gonna have to rate his route a 1 out of 10. Yeah, man, I think he's gonna go on the acquaintance tier list. I don't know if we would be friends. I think we could watch a lot of court shows together, and I think that'd be fun. But other than that, that's about it. But his real-life form, he can get it. I'm riding that mustache till dawn. Okay, we have Tina Triangle. She is your triangle. The musical instrument, just to be more specific. So I just want to say this. I know she's like a little bit of a pushy, toxic character, but you know what? I like her. She was really fun. When I first did her route, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna do whatever you say, and I'm just gonna try to get with you. And I read her diary and all I didn't read it. I pretended to read it, flipped through the pages, and then she loved me, and I was like, I got the triangle. And you know what? I just like all her angles. I love her design. She kind of reminds me of Tinkerbell a little bit. She kind of reminds me of the purple one specifically. Don't come after me. I don't remember their names. I just know Tinkerbell, Rosetta, Silver Mist, And that's about it. I don't remember the other ones. But she kind of reminds me of Tinkerbell in a sense, at least the design wise. She kind of reminds me of a pixie. But other than that, I'm gonna rate her route a 10 out of 10 because she kept me on my toes. I really liked her route. I thought it was really fun. But relationship wise, she's going into no tier because I feel like I just could not take her in real life. I don't think she would want someone like me, and I don't want someone like her. Nothing personal, just business. Up next, we got her lover, Tony. He is your toolbox. So Tony's stupid. Can we just talk about that? He's really stupid. I just redid his route recently, and oh my gosh, like the way he was just trying to give me advice, I was like, Tony, please shut up. Like, I don't know what's going on, but you know what? I knew what he was talking about at least. There's a little bit of a gripe with him, but I really don't like the fact that, you know, he had a little something with Rainy, but how real was it? I'm not blaming Rainy at all for this one. I'm blaming Tony. Like, you got me on my nerves. But you know what? Outside of being a very funny individual, I'm going to give his route a 6 out of 10. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't really expect much from Tony. He's kind of a funny character. I haven't gotten Tina and Tony separately. I don't know what their endings look like, so maybe I'll like them a little bit more afterwards. And despite my criticisms of him and Rainy, I'm gonna say I think we would have a friends with benefits situation going on, only because he's a handyman, and you know what, I like watching woodwork videos. Woodwork is hot. Next, we have Titus Andromache. She is your laundry detergent. Now, what can we say about this beautiful woman right here? First of all, I just want to say she kind of looks really delicious. Like, I don't know what's up with the pinks and the purples, but you know what? She just looks really delicious. And I know eating the dipogenies are not a good idea, and I haven't done it, but like, you know what? I'm very tempted. Like, I really do like her design. However, when it comes to her route, as much as I did have fun, I feel like it wasn't enough for me. I can't tell you what I need more because I haven't done her route again just yet. So once I do it again, once I visit again, I'll probably have a better answer. But for right now, it's a 3 out of 10. Maybe it can be bumped up to a 5 or maybe a 6. And sorry, Titus Simpson fans, I already know she is very underrated, and I'm still not helping the cause. But I think, if anything, relationship wise, I don't know what me and Titus would have, but I'm gonna have to go with a no. I think we could be friends, but I would have to redo her route to actually really determine that. But right now it's a no. I don't really have that much of an attachment to her character other than me liking her design, but I would say, yeah, I'm open to discovering more for her character. Okay, we're giving it up for the next guy, Tyrell. He is your towels. Can we please talk about him? He is hardworking. He's sweet. He's smooth. Like, oh my gosh. Like, he's so warm too. Like, I know like he's described as warm and comforting, but he really just radiates that vibe anyways. That's what his personality is. He's warm. He's inviting. Like, I felt warm when I was talking to him. I was like, okay. Ooh, he is something. I want that man. I want that chocolate man so bad. And I mean, come on guys, he's like he got a little jealous. I'm like, okay. He got me there. And then let's just say addition happy trail. Okay, but I would say throughout his route I did have a really good time, and I'm gonna rate him a 10 out of 10. You know, no complaints there. And I'm gonna be so honest, relationship wise, Tyrell is gonna be my husband. That's marriage material right there. And if I don't get him, I don't know what I would do in real life. Like, I think I would fumble so bad if I never got Tyrell on my side. But oh my god, he is handsome. I love him. Up next, we have Dolly, and she is the Dust Bunny. So Dolly, she is very studious. I do like her design. I know she's like supposed to be like a little sexy bunny and all this stuff, but outside of that, respectfully, is sexy. I just like that they didn't over sexualize her. Like, you know, her sexuality is one thing outside of who she is. It's not about the beauties, it's all about the bronze. And I kind of like that. I also like that she took us like underground to learn more about the Dust Bunny culture and like how they became a society. I really like that. I really like going outside of the house, and I wish they did that more in the game. But other than that, I'm gonna rate her route A 5 out of 10. I wouldn't say I hated her route, and I wouldn't say I completely liked her route. It's just kind of in the middle for me, where it's like I would do it again to look at her character a little bit more closely. But other than that, it's fine. I liked it. And I would say in real life, Dolly and I would probably be acquaintances, but acquaintances in the point where I feel like she would just be like my professor and I would be her student. She's just giving more studious or like teacher vibes, especially when she was just taking us underground. I was just like, yeah, this feels more like a teacher situation. So yeah, nothing wrong with that. She's a really good character, and I understand why a lot of people like her and why people cosplay her a lot. Up next, we have Timothy, or Timmy Timepiece, and he is your cat cloth. Okay, so how can I describe Timothy? Okay, first of all, he's a little time sensitive. You can only talk to Timothy at a certain amount of times. If you talk to him another time, he's Timmy. And just kind of how I said it with Clarence, I'm not sure if I don't think Clarence is much of a DID character. Might just be an alter ego kind of thing for him. But I think Timothy could be DID. Not really sure, but that could be it. It could be something else. It could also be the alter ego. I'm not really sure. I would say that Timothy is very funny once you get to know him. When I first started playing the game, I was very annoyed by Timothy. I didn't like him, and then out of spite, I did try to see him at a different time, but then Timmy came along, and Timmy's a whole nother story. But doing my made everything route, and I went back and kind of did Timothy, I kind of like Timothy. He's actually a really cool character. He's just a little quirky with his time, but I was like, you know what? He's kind of real, because when I think about it, I hate being late. I like being on time. I like things being in a schedule, and if something goes out of order, I'm already overwhelmed. I'm not going to reschedule anything, but you know, I would just get overwhelmed. So I kind of understood. And then once you get his love in, he kind of relaxes a bit. So I'm like, you know what? We're getting somewhere, Timothy. But I'm going to rate his route a 6.5 out of 10. And I think relationship wise, me and Timothy, we would be friends. I don't know how that would work out though, because here's the thing. He is a very on the dot person and has everything like scheduled out to the minute. And I am someone like, yes, I like to be scheduled, but I also like flexibility in a sense. So if like something does go wrong, I would have time to kind of just recover and move on and just get it over with. But Timothy is like, no, you're late, I'm gonna leave. And he's really funny for that. So yes, and also Bryce Papenbrook. Why are you voicing Catboys? And not even that, I'm just saying, when Timothy called me master, I was just like, Nagito Kamaeda, you're coming out again, and gosh damn it. Anyways, so next we have Volt, and he is also your electricity. He would be the electricity while Eddie's like the breaker box in a sense, because I mean, Eddie was just the breaker box and then he split. Yeah, whatever. But we already know my route ranking for both Eddie and Volt, but I'm just gonna say this, when it comes to Volt, he kind of reminds me of Zen from Mystic Messenger a little bit. The only difference between the two is that where Zen, I saw him more platonically, because I was just like, you know what, he's very caring, but he was a little bit more on the narcissistic side. But Volt, he's just very attentive, he's romantic, he's caring, and he's open. And oh my gosh, when I saw him at first, I was like, I'm gonna love him. And then I went to Eddie, and now I'm back to Volt. And I'm just gonna say this, Volt is definitely marriage material for me. Calls me live wire. Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, kissing the hand, he's just like, you know, he's like, yeah, I like attention, okay? And Volt is just doing that for me, and you know what, I would love him as a husband. Up next, we have Doug, and he is the overwhelming sense of existential dread. Now, I'm a little mixed media about Doug. He's kind of aggressive in a sense. He's like passive aggressive. I didn't really like that, because like I would just try to vibe with him, and then he's just harshing my vibe. He's trying to talk to his friends with benefits or situationship, and I'm like, you know, this is not that great. And like, you know, he's an interesting character, but like when you're playing his route, you're just like, yeah, you're kind of just in it. But like, he's interesting, but I don't know why he just told me I had a nice the first time he saw me. I was like, okay, like I'm crying, and then just his face. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, I would say I'm gonna rate his route a 5 out of 10. I do like the fact that we got a little bit more aspect with him when he started talking about Hope. I thought that was a really nice touch, and I was like, okay, maybe he's not so bad. He's just like he's a little soft little orb thingy. And then you can pair it up with art, and it's like a little cute. I like it so far. I'm trying to see what the lore behind them is, but you know what? It is pretty good. But I'm gonna say, I think me and Doug could actually be friends, but it's gonna take a lot of work. But I don't know if we would just be kind of like friends or acquaintances. We'd be kind of in the mixed media, but I'm gonna say friends because I think we could be friends if we're just chilling out, not saying anything, and ruminating together. But yeah, other than that, that's about it for Doug. Up next is Bobby Pin, and they are your bobby pins. So what can I say about Bobby Pin? Bobby Pin has a really fun design. I really did enjoy the route because first of all, they just got out of Who's bag. They're like, I gotta make it big. I gotta scam some people. And I'm like, you know what? I'm all for it. And they kind of remind me of like the Looney Tunes, specifically the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and they are the coyote, and literally they're just trying to do their best, they're trying to succeed, and then they're just not succeeding. But towards the end, they kind of found out that they had like a little secret knack for shifting themselves into, you know, keyholes and all this stuff, and that's how we get IronaldDD. Then they join IronaldDD, and they're kind of cool for that. And then also they were like a chill little bartender at the end, and I really like that for the realized ending. But I'm gonna rate them a 5 out of 10. Nothing more, nothing less, just right. And I would say that me and Bobby would be friends. Okay, so now we have Cam, your trash cans. Okay, let me just say this. Cam is kind of hot. I kind of get it. You know, he's very confident in himself. He has some good personality. He's kind of like nicely rough. I don't know how to explain that. That's like, yeah, he's like nicely rough. I don't know how else to explain that. But he's kind of, I don't know if aloof is the right word, but he's kind of just standoffish. I haven't done the specs check with his route, but I did not like the fact that majority of the time we're basically offending him. Like at first we're vibing, and then we offend him, and he's like, please don't say that. And then we just keep on saying it, and then towards the end he's just like, it's okay, I just know you didn't mean it. Cam, stand the f up. If I'm like going against you and I'm saying something offensive, you need to stand up and stand by your words. Do not back down. Like, do not do that. But I'm gonna rate his route a 4.5 out of 10 only because of that feature, but maybe it's different with the specs check. And yeah, but I'm just gonna say relationship wise, Cam is a no. I don't even think it's like the garbage. Like, yeah, sure, he could say something pretty hot, but nah, that's all he's got going on for him. But I did like his realized ending, him just being the king of the trash. And you know what? Sometimes that's just what you gotta do in life. Next, we have Von Trapp, and he is your rat trap. So I don't really remember much of Von's route. I really should have done this when I was done with my Made Everything run, but it's okay. I can still speak on this because you're going to hear it anyways. So with him, what I remember, I think it's a Boston accent. I don't think it's a Boston accent. It has to be like New Yorker. I don't really know accents that well, so someone's going to correct me one way or another. But I do know he's voiced by Dana Schneider, the same person who voiced like Gazpacho or like the snowman from Smiling Friends, like all those iconic characters that we all know and love. Vaughn is a pretty funny character. He was very sarcastic, and I found that really funny with him. I was just like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna enjoy him a little bit. But outside of the little mouse thing, I think he's just a really cool character. He is nicely designed. But I'm going to give his route a 3 out of 10 only because I don't feel like the route was fulfilling enough. When I go back and play his route, I might have a little different stance. But other than that, it's more of like, there was just, I wish there was a little bit more. I kind of hope there would be more. But I will say, relationship wise, I think me and Vaughn would be good acquaintances. I think there would be a possibility to be friends, but I'm not really sure. Up next, we got Wallace, and he's your Walls. What can we say about Wallace? Wallace is kind of a funny character, Wall. He's also one of the characters you can get a love ending fairly quickly with. But that's really about it. I think I'm gonna rate him a 6 out of 10. Yeah, and I think me and Wallace could be friends because, why not? Up next, we have Washford, the other half of the Stackables, and he is your washer. Let's just talk about Washford real quick. Okay, so looks wise, Washford, ooh, he is handsome. I saw him and I was like, yes, I want that ponytail hair man immediately. And you know, his voice, I was like, ooh, you got a little timber in there. But unfortunately, I didn't know what he was talking about majority of the time because he was talking in poetry, which is beautiful sometimes. But like, sometimes he would say something and he's like, does that make sense? I'm like, I don't know if this makes sense to me because I just don't understand. I need you to speak in simple terms for me. And I think at some point he got mad at me because I don't know. I didn't know what he was talking about. And I guess the character is like, well, I don't have to like every book. And that's right. I don't have to. And he got mad. And I was like, why are you getting mad at me for this, bro? But I would say he kind of reminds me of the song The Lonely Sea by Matt and Morton Block. It's a really good song, but it just reminds me of him because he kind of goes into that isolation mode, especially when he's away from Drysdale. And I can say this, I haven't gotten Drysdale and Washford together in my game because I cannot figure it out for the life of me, even though like I think I do everything right, I just do something wrong. They're kind of real for each other and I kind of understand why they go together. But I will say when I did his route, I don't know, there was just, it was a little boring, a little bit more boring than Drysdale, so he's gonna get a 3 out of 10. And I think me and Washford would be really good acquaintances, personally. But you know what, I think looks wise I would have a crush on him. Personality wise we could be friends, but just I don't know, the friend thing would have to take a while. Or if like I was friends with Drysdale and then he gets with Washford and then we become friends, I think that would be the only way. Next, River, your water. So River, oh my gosh, can we talk about River for a minute? First of all, River is like realized and dateable form, very beautiful. I remember seeing River for the first time. I was like, oh my god, she's so pretty. And then her blush is like purple. I think it's purple. It was like really nice. I was like, okay, they know what they're doing. Like, okay, her route has a lot to do with self-discovery. Well, specifically, it's more of like River is trying to figure out who she is, but because everyone prefers a different aspect of her, she's just like, well, am I supposed to just do one thing and everyone would like me? And then everyone's giving like some basic ass answer instead of saying like everything about you is perfect the way it is. We like all of you. They're always just like, I kind of like you, Misty. I kind of like you this way. I'm like, shut the f up, bro. And you know what? And I'm also gonna say she is a little bit more quiet. She's a little bit more reserved. And did we see her in the winter art? Because she looked banging, like her cuddled up with Winifred. I'm like, purr. But when I did her route, I kind of understood how she felt because, in a sense, because I feel like when we perform for others, we kind of give that version of ourselves to others, and we're like, well, this is what they'll prefer. They won't prefer version A or version B. They'll only prefer C or something like that. So I kind of understood it in a sense. And for that, I will say I'm going to give her route an 8 out of 10. It's a very good route, and I would recommend anyone playing it if they haven't played it yet for some reason. But I'm going to say me and River, I think we would be friends in real life. I think we would just chill out, you know, try to take that walk together of just learning how to accept all aspects of ourselves, even if one version is more acceptable than the other. It's all about how we feel on the inside. So up next we got Winifred. She is your water heater. Can we talk about Winifred, please? So Winifred, oh my gosh, her southern voice. Oh my gosh, her design, I love her design. She's so pretty. Can we talk about her theme? Anytime I hear that theme, I'm like, oh my gosh, a baby is gonna be made with this song. It's so good. I just love R&B. I love it. I love it. One thing we can say is that her route is centered on self-discovery and self-acceptance, because with her route, she kind of feels a little insecure that she's like, well, I kind of like multiple people. And turns out she is polyamorous. There's multiple polyamorous characters in the game, yes, or you can have like a poly relationship, but with Winifred, it really is kind of more centering on the acceptance part of like, well, what do you do when you like multiple partners? So that's just what her route surrounds. And I kind of like that she was just telling us a little tease about the people in the house beforehand. I was like, yes, this is like the little homeowner lore I want to listen to. And then in the end, she's just like, you can call me Winnie. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. And I'm going to give her around an 8.5 out of 10. But I'm going to say this. I think me and Winnie, low-key, I don't know why, but I think we would have a friends with benefits situation. Same thing with like Stepford. It's like we would have like a really good relationship, but we would also have the very good loving aspect. I don't know if we would actually get into a committed relationship. Not sure, but I think we would find a lot of comfort in each other's arms. Up next, we have Gwendolyn, and she's your Windows. Okay, let me just gonna say this. Gwendolyn gives me like auntie vibes. Like, I feel like I would see her somewhere and she's just an aunt that likes to gossip, and I'm like, per auntie, get into it. I do like her design. I think I like her realized outfit a lot more than her dateable form, if that makes sense. I just felt like the realized outfit was just a little bit better. But in her route, all she did was kind of gossip, and I wish I could have known her more. But yeah, other than that, I think her route is a 2 out of 10 for me. And also, it was kind of tedious because to get like an actual ending for her, you had to talk to her at 3 different locations, or like 2 different locations, and you had to complete that fully because they're all like separate like storylines. They're not like Abel or Dorian or Kurt and Rob, where you had to just go to each individual one and they're all just uniquely different. It was just too tedious for me, and I just did not like that. So it's a 2 out of 10. So I think in real life, I'm gonna have to put Gwendolyn in the acquaintance tier because I don't think we would just be friends. I don't really see myself. Yeah, I don't know how to explain this, but it's just I don't really see myself interacting with her much. But I would say she would help me find a lot of things on people. So like her and Maggie, I guess we're gonna have to find out some things about people. So per. Next is Shadow Lord, and he is the weird shadow. So I just want to say this. Shadow Lord is kind of edgy. You know, he's a little nerdy. He's kind of cute. I don't know how to explain this, but Shadow Lord and Hector are kind of one and the same, where they're both kind of hiding their true selves until they feel comfortable. Where Shadow Lord is more of like, I just want to make a connection without someone leaving. And Hector is just more of like, I'm scared that if you see the real me, you're going to leave, which is kind of one and the same thing, but I guess it's a little different. But I did like Shadow Lord. I think he was like maybe the second dateable I fully romanced. I don't know if that's true. I don't remember, but he was like one of the people in the beginning. And I kind of liked his true form, which is Skips. He's very cute, and I like his gold blush. But I'm going to give his route a 6.5 out of 10. And I'm just going to ask this real quick. People who don't like Hector but love Shadow Lord, why? Please tell me the difference. No hate, I'm just asking. I'm just really curious. But I think in real life, me and Shadow Lord, we could be really good friends. I think we'd be really good friends. That's about it. Next, we have Damon, the glitch, or at least the discarded concept of what was supposed to be our dresser, which is Dina. I just want to say this. Damon is very scary and eerie. I do like their design. I really like it a lot. And I do like how they treated a potential and kind of was like, yeah, I was discarded, but now I'm here. And I'm like, cool. I kind of like that about Damon, but I'm going to rate their round at 3 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm rating it a 3 out of 10 is just, yeah, it was just way too creepy. Like compared to like Dishy and like Nightmare, I don't know, Damon kind of creeps me out a lot more. I think like Dishy just creeps me out and makes me uncomfortable. Nightmare makes me uncomfortable. Damon actually creeps me out because I don't like being jump scared. I don't like that, and that's what I was feeling the entire route, and I don't like that feeling. So it's gonna be a 3 out of 10, and I'm gonna put them in the no because that is very creepy. And when I realized them at the end, and then the narrator's like, just know that they're behind you. I hate that feeling. Like, I know it's fictional. I know they're not behind me or anything like that. But like, if I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm a little bit nervous while I'm playing my video game, I'm not having a good time. So it's a no. Up next, we have Connie, and she's your gaming console. So with Connie, I'm just gonna say this right here, both the realized and dateable form for Connie, absolutely love it. I love that outfit top to bottom. I'm like, yes, 10 out of 10. I love this. I did like their route because here's the thing, my guilty pleasure is time loops. As much as it can be a little frustrating, watching like movies that have to deal with like time loops, or like, you know, we get to see things in like different perspectives. I just love that because I'm just like, yes, like show me how things are. How did they get out of this? Like the 12-minute game, I like it. I would play it by myself, but I already know so much about it. But yeah, I wouldn't play it personally. But I would say when I watched it, it was like really fun. I was like, okay, time loop, I love this. So doing their time loop, it's like, oh, okay. And then it makes you more determined because it's like, now I know what to do. Now I'm going to help you. And then you get to the ending and they break the loop. It's like, yay, I love it. 5 out of 10. Love it. Would do it again. Maybe it should be a little higher, but you know, it's a 5 out of 10. I don't feel that strongly about it. Like as much as I like time loops, 5 out of 10. Nothing would change, but I don't know what would make it better, but I like it the way it is. And personally, I do think in real life, Connie would be an acquaintance, but not acquainted to the fact that like we know each other, but more of like she is doing like a stream on Twitch and I'm just like a average viewer. That's about it for me. Up next we have Faria, and Faria is your first date kit. Like I love her design. Oh my gosh, I love her wrap and her realized form. Like it's all flowery. I'm like, okay, I love this for her. Like, and also she's like really me, to be honest. Like she's not really the study type, and the thing is, I like learning things that I of course am interested in learning. Anyone else is, but I have a hard time studying and like finding out what my study style is, so I kind of try to avoid it. But you know what, I try to survive, and you know what, Faria is me too. But I do like quizzing. I feel like that's the best way I learn. But I'm gonna give her route a 7 out of 10 because we're just learning more about the medical field, and I feel like everyone needs a medical friend. And so with me saying that, I'm going to put Faria in the friends tier. And yeah, also she's really cute because like in the end I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take you on a date, and she's like, okay, so it's like, yeah, it all works out, Faria, let's go. All right, up next we have my absolute favorite dateable, Johnny Splash, and he is your shower. I'm trying not to like go on a whole little rant here, but I'm about to, and you're gonna have to deal with it because that is my baby. That is my honey. I love Johnny. But here's the fun fact. I did not like Johnny at first. So when I first played Date Everything, I was streaming it with my best friends, so they were able to see me play the game. And I saw Johnny, I was like, no, this is just an Elvis impersonator. I don't like that. And I was so mean to him at first. And then my best friend was like, yo, give him a chance. He got a little secret. And I was like, fine. And then he won me over because he had a dream. And I was like, I gotta support you in your dream, baby. When I thought I almost fumbled, I actually panicked for a minute. I was like, no, I can't fumble now. I can't fumble on you. And you know what? He ended up winning my heart. He genuinely makes me smile. Like out of all of the dateables, I feel like when I see Johnny on the screen, instantly I'm happy. Instantly I'm having a good time. Instantly I'm laughing because he's so stupid. And like, I love him so much. And oh my gosh. I love him, and I absolutely love his voice. I think Robbie David did an absolute job when it came to Johnny Splash, and there's a little bit of a fun fact that Robbie David was not supposed to voice him, but he did it anyways. I was like, yeah, you wouldn't have it any other way. But I'm just gonna say this, you know, obviously his route is gonna be a 10 out of 10. I'm just a sucker for him, and Johnny, I'm gonna put him on that marriage material because like I'm gonna take him. Because I can just think about all the things we could do. Because, like, you know, I like old-fashioned dates. So, like, it would be fun. Like, we go to a drive-in, an ice cream shop, And then also, I just want to just kind of throw this little shadow here. But there is, like, a fanfic called Make a Splash by Ethergummy. And I think I say it right. And I love that fanfic. I love how Johnny is portrayed in that fanfic. And I'm like, you know what? This just makes me love him even more. And I'm just going to say this. I ship him with Rainy. I call them broken tunes or shower tunes. I will explain that later. But yes, I'm going to have to put that now because we're going to get that propaganda here soon. Anyways, next one. Next, we have Hirohime, and she is your anime figurine. So, Hirohime, I had a lot of fun playing her out. Like, when I first saw her, of course I saw Usagi Tsukino, but she's also voiced by the person who dubbed Usagi in the English dub for Sailor Moon. So, like, yeah, she's definitely a parody, but you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. And, you know, so we got Nekoboru. So, you know, that's a really good thing. That's a good add-on. But when I did her route, of course, like, this is the thing. I didn't know what her route was about, but I was going through TikTok and there was like a comment and everyone was just like, don't trust Nekobaru. Don't trust the cat. I was like, okay, I won't trust the cat. And you know what? I'm glad I listened to that piece of advice because I got the love ending. But I did like her route. I found it really enjoyable. I would rate it at 10 out of 10. I will 100% do it again. And I'm going to put her on the friends tier. But yeah, I would really see Hirohime more as a friend. I think she would just be one of those characters. You could go to her little sports events and you're like, yay, hero, you know, all this stuff. It's like really fun. And I don't know how I would feel about an anthropomorphic tennis god cat. I don't know. You know, Nekobaru is fine. You know, he's fine. He's really cool. We like him. Next, we have Captain Jacques Perriot. I don't know if I'm saying it Is it Parrot?
Nope.
Next, we have Captain Jacques Perriot. I had to look that up because I thought it was Perriot, and unfortunately it wasn't. And how I'm pronouncing his name isn't even the right pronunciation, but nonetheless, we gotta continue. So I'm just gonna say this. The first thing I noticed when I saw Captain Jacques, he looks a lot like Aaron Hansen, and I'm kind of figuring out like what's going on. First we got Bodhi, now we got Captain Jacques. What's going on?
Hey, I'm Grump. I'm not so Grump. And we're the Game Grumps.
But I'm just gonna say this. I do like Jacques. Okay, he's just a little menace to society too. He was just trying to stab me. I was like, okay, Stabby McStabberston. Like, okay. And then his banter with Bo when we were on that little quest was, yeah, I like that. You know what? And also his little sword. Yeah, who couldn't like that guy? I do want to say this real quick. I love his realized outfit. Like the red is like, okay, nice. And then his art tattoos, purr. But I'm just gonna say this. I feel like there could have been more with Jacques, but I think I need to go back and play his route. But for right now, I'm gonna give him a 4.11 out of 10, just like his height. And I think me and Jacques, we would be good acquaintances. The only reason why I'm just putting him acquaintances is because I want to get to know him a little better or go back in his route and play it again fully, and I think I would have a better idea. But other than that, and from what I know, I do like his character and I do like his route, so yes. Anyways, our next character is Keith, and he is your skeleton key. Now, it's no surprise by now that Keith is kind of manipulative. He's also very charming, and it's very fun to dog on because I'm just gonna be so honest, any Date Everything fanfic I have read that has like at least a compelling storyline, for some reason they always make Keith the villain, and it never gets old for me. I'm like, yes, it needs to be Keith in every time, in every aspect, in every world, because like it's I don't know how to explain it. He fits the villain role too well. Like, you know, come on. And when I did his route the first time, first of all, I had the content aware thing, and I don't think I understood what was going on. They're like, oh, he's a bit of a sociopath. I guess. Like, I don't know, and I just didn't get it, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna be friends, Keith. And then he stole my money at the end. I was like, ooh, I guess I got manipulated. But I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna rate his route a 7 out of 10, because also he gives us candy so we can at least repair some of our relationships. If it wasn't for Keith, most of us wouldn't have at least one of our baddies that we fumbled. But I think in real life, me and Keith would somehow be friends. I think I would just be very oblivious to his manipulation. Like, I just wouldn't realize it's happening. Like, he would just say something, I'm like, no, you can't do that. And then, I don't know. But yeah, I think that's it for me. And also, his body was never found. Do y'all believe he's dead? Like, I don't know. Because, like, how Skylar says, like, if a dateable dies, like, after they get realized, they kind of go back to their object form or something like that. And here's the better question. So if they die in their realized form and they turn back into their object, can't you just like use the Deviators yet again to revive them and then realize them again? Who knows? Anyways, next one. Mateo Manta, and he is your blanket. So Mateo, he is such a sweetheart. He's cuddly. He's an animal lover. I love doing his route. We got to see all the animals, and you know what? This just begs the question a little bit. Where the is Johnny's in animal? What is he? what is Duke? Because I know they said Duke is a shower, but like maybe he's like a baby shower. Like a baby tub. Like, let's think about that for a minute. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I love seeing like all the little animals. I like that he was really focused, to be honest, because like, you know, I was like, yo, I'm kind of feeling you, Mateo, but he's like, I can't worry about that right now. Not when Dobby is lost. I'm like, you know what? You're right. Yeah, your job comes first. And I had to respect that. But yeah, just, he's such a little cuddle monster. I'm going to rate his route of 8.5 out of 10. I love him. And I think, relationship wise, I think I would have a huge crush on Mateo. Like, I think it would just be unspoken. I would just have a crush on him and then I would just chill with him. And that would be it. And that's okay. But here's the thing. If we do become lovers, you know what we can do? We can go to the zoo because I like seeing animals. And maybe he can help me hold a snake and a spider. And then that'd be fun. Anyways. Next one is Mikey Transactions. And he is the microtransaction, I guess, in games in general. I don't know really how this works. So what I can say about Mikey, because I just got done doing his route, he is funny. I liked his little funny voices. I liked him being a little Brundle man. It was really fun. And like the whole interaction you get at first when he's like, all right, you exchanged too much money for Brundle. So like, let me go do this real quick. That was really fun. I think it was Max Middleman, the same person who voices John Liu. I think they share the same voice actor. I think it's Max Middleman. But yeah, he did a very good job with Mikey as well. And he's a dad and he got nice muscles. And I don't know, his round, I just wish there was a little bit more. But I'm going to rate it a 7 out of 10 because like I do like it for what it is. But I wish we got a little bit more into his family life outside of the basic stuff. Like how did him and his wife separate? All these things. Maybe there was just a little bit more if I had done the route differently because I just kind of just supported him and then I got the love ending. But if that's it, I just wish there was more. If there's more, I need to go figure that out. But I think in real life, me and Mikey would be really good friends. Up next, we have Rainy, and she is your record players. So what can we say about Rainy? So Rainy, she is a very strong character, in my opinion, because in the face of everyone judging her, especially when her music got warped, and instead of the others looking at her or just looking for who she truly is and being there and being supportive, they kind of just turn a blind eye. I need to find out who turned a blind eye because you know what, y'all messed up, and I think Tony was one of them, and I'm about to fight him for that one. And I think it would be a really disappointing situation because it's kind of like if you get sick and no one treats you the same, they look at you weird or something like that, because that's kind of what they did to Rainy. She wasn't well, and instead of them being there for her, they kind of just left her alone, and I mean, that honestly sucked, and I hated that for her. The only person that was kind of there for her, I mean, Tony was there, but you know what, I'm gonna run up on him, and Beverly was a real one, so you know what, thanks Bev, thank you for being there for my girl. But you know what, throughout her route, you're just supporting her. I love her so much, and she is a 10 out of 10 in my book. And I'm just gonna say this, why I kind of ship her with Johnny, because I shipped them heavily. This happened to me on a random night, because at first, fun fact, I shipped Fog Mirror. I still kind of do, but you know what, this ship just got me. It got me randomly, because I was reading a fanfic. Johnny and Rainy had no interaction, but I just thought about it, and I was like, this is it. This is this for them. And it's both because both of them, and this is why I call them broken tunes. You can call them shower tunes. Either way, it works. But I call them broken tunes most of the time. But broken tunes, the reason why I like them so much is because both of them have something physically wrong with their object that affect the production of sound for both of them. So with Johnny, it's his rusted pipes, which I need to add this little tidbit real quick. I kind of wish for Johnny's route, they added that somewhere. They implemented that information somewhere within his route that you don't get it when you achieve his love ending, you realize him, or you get his hate ending. No, I wish that was implemented to his route. That would have made him an even stronger character, in my opinion. Anyways, rant over on that one. But both of them have that particular thing wrong with them. So with Johnny, it's the rust in his pipes, and Rainy, it was just that she fell over, her screws got loose, so now her music is just a little bit more warped. So even though at least in Rainy's route that gets fixed and she can play music like normal, and Johnny, you kind of have to get him realized for it to get fixed. It's kind of like the same things. You know what, how about we split it this way? Broken tunes in their dateable forms, shower tunes and their outside forms. It doesn't make sense anymore because they're not objects, but But yeah, I really do like that. And I feel like they would be really supportive towards each other. Because I feel like Rainy is a very supportive character. She's kind of just there for everybody. I feel like she wouldn't deal with Johnny's nonsense, but she would deal with it. She would love him bad. And then Johnny would still dance with her, even if her music's a little warped. And also because Johnny is a little self-aware of his singing. So they're both pretty self-aware about what's going on. So I think they would just dance through the storm they're both clouded in. If the world was ending, they'd come over right. Anyways, but in terms of relationship with Rainy, I believe that I would have a massive crush on Rainy. We would be best friends, but I would have a massive crush on her. Like it would just be really bad, but I think we would just be besties at the end of the day, because she would just be really supportive and I'd be really supportive, and she would help me get up on my feet and dance, and we would just be dancing onto the club and all this stuff. And also, let's talk about her realized outfit, because it is so gorgeous. Please give her more attention. Please give my girl more attention. All right, next is Runga My Fenua, and she is your geode that you find when you're on the quest with Bo. Okay, let me just say this. I do like their design. From what I remember, they are kind of like this like earth goddess that has been there since the dawn of time. But that's all I remember, because Runga My Fenua was one of the characters I did kind of last. And by that time, I was kind of pooped out from Date Everything for a little bit. So I was just skipping dialogue for the majority of it. So sorry, Runga My Fenua fans. I did overlook your favorite geode. And I'm just gonna say the route is a 1 out of 10, but when I do her again in my Made Everything run, I do plan to just pay more attention and look at her fully, because I do like her design. Like, she's really pretty, and her realized form is extremely pretty. But I think other than that, I'm gonna put her on the acquaintance tier. But I would say we would also be like little outside buddies. We would just go outside and enjoy nature or just vibe. Because I think she ran a farm in her ending. I'm not really sure, but you know what? If she got farm animals, shoot, I'll be there. Let me go pet the cows and the goats. Next, we have Stella, and she is your stairs. What can we say about her outside of her trying to recruit us for a little MLM? She is such a bad. She is so sweet, and I'm gonna give her that sugar anytime. Okay, oh my gosh. When I first saw Stella, and she was just like, so I got this pyramid scheme, and I was like, okay, I didn't know what to do, so I kind of supported her endeavors for it. I really shouldn't have, but you know what? I almost got recruited for an MLM one, so, who am I to try to avoid someone else? But I do want to say, the first time I played the game, I got her love ending, and then I talked to Celia and Florence, and you know what they made me do? They made me fumble Stella. But you know what? It was kind of my fault too. But I was so mad because I was like, no, I lost to Betty. And then I used the candy on her and I got her friend ending. And then I realized her and I saw I saw how gorgeous she was. And I was even more pissed because I was like, I lost that. That was mine. And I'm so glad. I redid her route now. She's my lover. I'm taking her to the top, even farther than that pyramid scheme. So I'm going to rate her route a 7 out of 10. Because I really want that sugar, and I'm going to say Stella would be my crush, 100%. No further questions. Next, we have Teddy, and he's your teddy bear. Oh, Teddy is so cuddly. I like Teddy. So when you do Teddy's route, you can get, I think it's like 3 stories. So I just remember it's the beaver tail one, the octopus one, and my favorite is Eris and Leo. I kept on getting the beaver tail one or the octopus one anytime I was just playing the game. But up until now, I finally got the Eris and Leo one, and I was a mess afterwards. Because that was, what the fuck? Who wrote Teddy? Because you did a good job, but what the fuck? Y'all messed me up with that one. My journey was to die, but yours was to live. I cried. I was like, I can't do this. And I was about to go to bed that night, and I was like, ugh. I was already done. I was done. But I would say his route, I'm gonna rate him as 6 out of 10. But I'm just gonna also say this real quick. I don't like his realized outfit. I just don't. I don't like it. He just needs something better, because I just don't like that onesie on him. I just really don't. But I think me and Teddy would be really good friends in real life. I think we would exchange stories together. Oh, maybe even bedtime stories. Woo! And if he wrote a story, I would 100% read it front and back. So yes, I would love that. All right, next we have Miranda Dulce Tostadora, your toaster. Don't make fun of me on her pronunciation. I know it was bad. Anyways, what can we say about Miranda? So she is beautiful. Oh, she is beautiful. I love her. And she sings. She's fun. She's beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love doing her route. It was short, but it was sweet. I like that. And then when you get her love ending and then you get to hear the song, I love that. I love that. And you can choose which version of her ballad you get. I've gotten her home version and I got the Horizons one, but I stumbled upon the Always Looking one, and I think the Always Looking one is my favorite. But I would say overall with her route, it's an 8 out of 10. I love that. And I think in terms of a relationship, Miranda would actually be a really big crush. Like, what's there not to love about her? She's kind of like a hopeless romantic. She loves music. Like, she's everything. I need the Miranda fans to stand up a little bit. We all need to stand up. Let's give our girl some love. Please, thank you. Up next, we have Koa, and here's your couch. Okay, now doing Koa's route, it's also kind of like a mindfulness kind of thing for me. And it's also someone inviting you into their culture, or at least inviting you to take a little step into their lives a little bit. So instead of just talking, you could just relax together. And I actually really like that a lot. I'm gonna say his route is a 5 out of 10. Like, you know what? I like it. And I feel like through the silence, that's how you get to know him, instead of like pushing him and say like, yeah, tell me about it. Like, nah, I haven't done that yet because I haven't wanted to try that, but I kind of enjoyed the silence a little bit. As much as I like to talk, I enjoyed the silence. You know, he seems very cuddly. And I'm just gonna say this. I think we would be really good friends in real life. Like, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, parallel play would probably come in clutch, but you know, I think he would prefer the silence. But hey, as long as I'm doing something quietly and he can take his nap, I think it's fine. He's kind of like Teddy for me. But Koa's kind of a freak though. Anyways, next we have everyone's favorite girl, Kopi. So Kopi is your coffee maker. And what can we say about Kopi? Like, she is so sweet. She's kind of like a little dork, you know? She just likes her little coffee. She likes making coffee. She gives you a lot of coffee facts. She's like a really fun route to go through. And also she's a very hard worker, especially when it comes to the conditions of her job. She's like, yeah, this kind of sucks. And then she's doing her own little coffee stuff. I'm like, come on. Like, she's just so sweet. She's adorable. And then if you play other routes, she's just there for everyone else. So she's very supportive too. And I'm gonna rate her route a 7 out of 10. I would do it again and over and over. The only thing that's tedious about it is that I think you have to go to her for like 12 days or something like that. That's like a little too much in my opinion. But you know what? It's whatever. You know, I still like her. And I think we would be besties in real life. I think we really have a blast together, and I feel like she would fix me up a drink that I would like and that I can drink, and that would be great. All right, up next we have Lyric, and he is your book. So Lyric is a pretty interesting one. He's like a little genie. Like, if you see his design, he's like a little genie. I would say this, Lyric is very interesting. Like, you know, he's a book but never wrote a book, and then you get to write a book with him. You know, he's a little book nerd. I kind of like that. And then when you do the little book club, it's like, it's nice. That's all I can really say about this. I would just say this Lyric is a 6 out of 10 for me. But character wise, I kind of like his character, but like, yeah, I don't know. He's kind of fine the way it is. I don't wish for more. I don't wish for less. He's just kind of right there. But I think me and Lyric would be acquaintances in real life. I feel like we'd be like in the same book club, but I don't know if we would talk necessarily, especially because I'm not much of a bookworm. Like, I read fanfics here and there, but yeah, I don't know. But I think we get along, so I think it'd be fine. Up next, we have Willy, and Willy is your workspace app. So what can we say about Willy? First of all, Willy is a strong woman. That is a woman. I would say alongside Keys, Willy is also someone I would strive to be. Just very strong, determined, hardworking, resilient. All these things that they are. It's just like, most of us, we all need to just be like Willy. Just, you know, not accepting shenanigans or anything like that. Just like, yeah, command me and all this stuff. But I would say I'm going to rate their route an 8 out of 10. Because first of all, when they basically got out of the job because we got out of the job, they were just like, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to go try to get a job. I'm going to try to do something with myself. And then also, I don't know why they went for the Hanks. And at some point, I think she was like, should I talk to like Jean-Luc? I was like, nah, don't do that, girl. But I like that. I think in real life, Willie would be someone I would have a massive crush on. I don't know how to explain it, but I would just see her and I'm like, yes, like if we worked in the same building, I would see her and I would be like the shy person that's like all up in my work as soon as she pops in, because I would be so nervous seeing her. But then when she walks away, I'd be like, girl, I hate it when you leave, but I love watching you go. And finally, last but not least, Zoe. And she is the ghost. Now, Zoe, I love Zoe so much. Oh my gosh. So in my little opinion, Zoe is also the Pinkie Pie of Date Everything. And she is, oh my gosh, when I did her story and then, you know, we're trying to help her remember, we did the seance. Oh my gosh, all those things made me so happy. Like, it made me so sad, but it made me happy, because then when she was able to make new friends and she was gonna go and talk to the other Dateables, I was like, oh my gosh, y'all better treat my girl right. And like, she was very nice, because when she confessed, I was like, I can feel the love. I can feel everything right now. Like, I love Zoe so much, and I'm gonna give her out a 10 out of 10. She's just so sweet. Like, this game, I'm so glad they put her in this game, and I'm gonna put her in the besties tier, because we be so tight. Like, oh my gosh, like, I love this about Zoe. And with that, our Date Everything tier list is complete. This took a long time to do, but it's very rewarding, I promise. I had a really good time going over these Dateables and kind of discussing them and just talking about them. I congratulate the developers for pushing through and making this game a reality, and I can't wait for those body pillows to come out. Please, the Johnny Splash one, I'm begging. Anyways, now I turn the floor to you guys. What do you guys think? Who's your favorite Dateable? What Dateables don't you like? What do you agree with on this tier list? What don't you agree with on this tier list? Everything's fine by me. Just stay respectful in the comment section. But I just want to say thank you for watching this video all the way through and watching me ramble on these Dateables and judging some of your favorites. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, I hope you guys stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.